There we go. We're live. We're finally live. We're only like an hour late to the stream here. Having major tech problems. My tech skills are improving day by day. Um, but I'm here with Andrew Morgan, aka Drewmorg, from YouTube, and we were just laughing about all this funniness going on the internet today. Watching the cult of veganism kind of crumble before our eyes, and talking about a stream that was going on with Happy Healthy Vegan, and Drewmorg was kind of the star of the stream, even though he wasn't even in it. I was banned from the chat. I got banned by one of my long-term fans who's been banned from my channel for a long time. He was a mod there, so he kicked me out after a couple comments. Um, but it seems like you were kind of a major catalyst for the conversation we saw over there with this guy Jackson, who you did a stream with him the other day and had sort of a debate where he was kind of like yelling at you for a while about how great he feels on a vegan diet. But what I thought was so amazing is that a few days after that, you told me that he started contacting you and asking you if you thought it would be a cool idea for him to do an experiment of eating animal foods for like 30 days and seeing if it would change anything, seeing if it would feel better. And that's what he was talking to Ryan from Happy Healthy Vegan about. So yeah, that's the backstory on it. What did you think, man? What's going on there?
Is the carnivore side from the vegan side, obviously. And this is the
You know
thing.
what? I just had you muted for the first like you said. All right, go back up like two sentences because I had you muted because of our audio settings before. My boomer
Okay,
tech skills. My bad, Andrew.
no worries. So, blah, 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 where was I? So
You
I've
said
brain fog.
you think he got kind of red pilled
Red
on the.
pilled. Yeah. So I believe that he got red pilled, and that's the thing is he was already researching the other side. So
You're
that's a
so
dangerous thing to do because like the carnivore side has the vegans think that the carnivore side has no science to it. Um, there's no rhyme or reason to anything going on. This is a new fad diet, yada yada. They think that veganism has been this well-established, amazing thing with
yeah. It's like a
all the
fad to eat
scientific.
meat. Like eating meat is a fad, and this is
You've
something
been you've been
totally.
you've been culturally brainwashed to eat meat. You
Yeah.
didn't even know that you didn't like it in the first place. And by the way, we have all the science on our side now, says the vegans, which is funny
Mm-hmm.
to me because if you think about it, vegans who have been around longer than 5 years, this science that supports their whole thing hasn't even been around for more than 5 years. So they obviously, mathematically, they went vegan for another reason because the science that they stand on today wasn't in existence 5 years ago, right? So,
Well,
yeah.
and the science that they call upon, they talk about Adventist studies. They talk about some epidemiology. They talk about eat meat bad because saturated fat's bad. You know, this just rehashed old school, debunked, bullshit fake science that you see coming out of, like during the Carter administration. I mean, you're looking at Ansel Keys' demonization of saturated fat because bunny rabbits, when fed pure saturated fat, a straight up herbivore that eats plants, when fed saturated fat, would get sick, right? And then they make
Mm.
associations between heart attacks and cholesterol levels, which this has been hashed out in the low carb community for a long time. And I thought it was really funny that Ryan from Happy Healthy Vegan likes to. He kept saying at the end of the stream there that these carnivores, he keeps calling them the carnivores, they try to use the carnivores, people who eat only meat, which is a
Right.
very small portion of the population, a very small portion of the low carb population.
Very small.
I mean, it's a small niche. They try to straw man it and act like anybody against vegan is a carnivore, right? So they love to
Right.
use, they'll use Sverige as their straw man, which let's give it to him. That guy makes a great straw man against eating meat, right? I mean,
Yep.
they use like the most extreme weirdos to try and say, oh well, if you eat meat, you must be like Sverige or you must be a carnivore. But he was saying at the end of the stream There's people in the paleo community. They're not even. They don't even like. They hate science. Like they have nothing. Like it's just they're crazy and they're never gonna listen to us. And he was so emotionally attached to Jackson not listening to these crazy carnivores, in particular you, Drew. What the hell did you do to Jackson? What have you done to our golden boy, Mr. Bandage Head? What have you done to this sweet, compassionate warrior for the planet, to make him doubt his entire worldview? And yeah.
See, well, here's the thing. He's coming at it the smart way. He's not coming at it from. He's still coming at it from the vegan side. Like he's willing to do this for the vegans, and I completely understand that sentiment. That's basically what I told my friends in Hawaii before I turned, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna try this because this shit is not working out for me right now, and it's a gift for you guys. Not to be like, you know, I don't know, narcissistic with that, but basically, I could do this and they wouldn't have to try it.
Mhm.
You know, it was like you guys could watch it for better or worse. If it fails, it fails. If it does well, then hey, maybe you can learn something from it. And some people, they even brought up the fact that see Ryan, he's watched all my videos. I can already tell because he's like, oh yeah, 7 out of 25 of the vegans.
Look at his face. That's the beginning of the stream. Look at his face. Look at the pure terror. Just so worried. He looks so concerned.
I know, and I got nothing bad to say about Ryan. Like, I don't think he looks unhealthy to me per se. I don't think he's unathletic to me per se.
Dude, he'd be dunking on fools. He'd be dunking on Sean Baker, dunking on everybody. He plays basketball.
He's a baller.
He's a baller, man.
Yeah, so they brought up my name like a million times, which is really funny, and you can clearly see that Ryan's done his homework at this point. And the thing that Ryan kept going back to, which is so stupid, and Jackson was defending every freaking. You talk about playing ball in the court. Jackson was playing fucking point guard here. He's blocking every shot. He's the center, dude. Every time Ryan tried to pull up some bullshit that has already been debunked by all of us, now we got the vegans defending us, like Jackson, who's saying, dude, I have plenty of friends that are now hitting me up saying, hey, this didn't work for me for this reason. And he trusts those people. He doesn't think that they're just like going back to meat for the taste and all this stuff, right? Yeah. And Ryan was saying, he's going back to the thing like, well, I see the trend here. They've all done water fasting and juice fasting. And Jackson's like, yeah, I've done those things too.
Exactly. And so everybody in the paleo community has also done long-term fasting. And you don't see them running for the hills trying to, fix their health or their gut going to shit because they're doing fasting. That's not how it works, guys. It just doesn't happen.
Well, okay. We already talked beforehand how we won't get into this one topic, but I like to be transparent and be like, okay, I'll give you this point, but guess what? I'm going to smoke you on these other 20 points, So, but yeah, as far as like Jackson, I mean, he was defending the
carnivore. I don't care what we talk about. I was just saying I wanted to focus on your conversations with your ex-vegan friends and stuff. And you were talking about some vegetable police type stuff that I think is I don't know, just didn't interest me as much. But if you want to get into that, we could. I think the most interesting thing here is the dynamic that goes on when these people start thinking about leaving veganism. Like you could see it in their eyes. Like look, I mean, poor Ryan's face. He's freaked out.
He was like distraught, like you don't need to try it, and all the vegans in chat, you don't need to try, you don't need to prove anything, you're already doing well on a vegan diet. And Jackson's like, what if I can get a little bit more out of this? And see, I don't want to get vegans onto the meat that are doing well. If you're already doing well as a vegan and you truly think that you're doing well, then fucking stick to it.
Yeah, if the diet works for you, it's all good. But these people try to gaslight everybody into this guilt and shame about ever even considering not being vegan, right? And you could see in the chat that he was never vegan. He's a fake vegan. Dude, he's not really vegan. People turned on him
before he even stopped being vegan. He claimed. I mean, I believe him. He's like, dude, on my dog's life, I'm still eating 100% vegan. Haven't even had an egg yet. Not a piece of fish. And everybody in the chat's just like, you were never vegan. It was not. It was nice when you used to care about the animals. What?
Yeah, they've already disowned him. They've already
disowned him.
I saw the comment several times. If you even think about eating meat again, if you would even consider doing something like this, you're not vegan. And the guy's just saying. What's so funny to me too is that I don't know. I mean, I don't know Jackson. I don't know Ryan. As far as most of the vegan communities, none of these people strike me as somebody that I would want to. I'm not looking at any of these people in vegan YouTube thinking, "Damn, what is this person doing? I
Right.
really want to get on what they're doing. They seem so
Right.
well adjusted, or their lifestyle looks so awesome." What I see is a bunch of people trying to pretend they like eating cauliflower, and swearing that their cashew cheese is fucking amazing, and that
Here's
that they feel so good, trying to justify it. But what I saw here, just let me make this last point.
Sure.
What I saw here was a guy that was so conflicted, a guy that's so sick of his diet that has seen everybody around him use animal foods and say, "Oh my goodness, I wish I did this freaking years ago." Right? And this is what I see with all these vegans around me too. As soon as they start eating meat again, they're like, "Well, shit, what a waste of time that was." And you see the vegans in the chat and they're freaking out, right? They're saying, "You were never
Yeah.
vegan. If you ever think about this, you must stay vegan. You must be vegan forever." And but I think all these vegans think about going back to meat at some point. They were all raised on meat. So, I mean, I don't see Jackson as
I
like,
don't think Ryan is thinking that. I think he's trying to figure out a way to double down right now.
well, his whole livelihood is all based on it. He's
True.
happy, healthy, vegan. He's the guy. But I'm talking about people who aren't on YouTube, people who don't have a whole fake reality that they're trying to output to the world.
True.
Like
Yeah,
real
they
vegans,
have
the
nothing to lose.
viewers.
They're like, okay,
Yeah, guys like you had nothing to lose.
right. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I had all my friends to lose in Hawaii that I moved there to hang around with, but
Well,
other than that,
they all ended up doing leaving veganism too. Then didn't
they
they?
they, they saw the gains, man. Like
Hmm.
I didn't sell anybody in Hawaii. I just want to be totally clear with everybody here. Ryan, that's another thing Ryan was saying was Drew was manipulating in the ear of all the people in Hawaii. Like that is not true. The last I was in Hawaii for 40 days before like I started eating meat 40 days before I left Hawaii. So like you can go watch one of the last videos that I was in Hawaii. It was the last day I was in Hawaii. I shot a video in the park and I explained my 40-day carnivore experiment. And so there you go, 40 days. And that's not enough time to change everybody's mind, guys. And then I left. And by the way, people didn't start eating meat right away. The only person that ate meat with me was Evan Rock. That's it. Because Evan has so many injuries. You guys need to realize this. Evan has busted elbows from snowboarding. He was doing OMAD at the end. Keep in mind, he's been vegan for over 10 years at this
Oh, he was
point.
doing OMAD, dude. He was fasting. Ha ha! We got you. We got you.
OMAD is the death sentence for vegans. It's like, you know that they're squirming in their seat trying to figure out a way to eat less fiber because their digestion is not doing it so good.
Right.
And here's the thing, So this is what I want to say to people. The people who bought into the Raw Till 4, who listened to the Harley stuff, which was eat a ton of calories, we all did way better than regular vegans. Now, our digestion may have suffered, but as far as our health goes, our energy, our deficiencies, I wasn't deficient. I don't think I was deficient other than in maybe protein, but I didn't feel sick or anything like this. I didn't have anything wrong with me because I ate a ton of food. And this is what's really funny when these vegans say, they underate. And that's like one of the things that they point to. They fasted, they underate. No, I did not.
The
I
problem
ate a
is all the
shitload of
foods you
food.
were eating are destroying
Yes.
your gut. The problem is all the
Yes.
shit that you got to shove down the gullet to try to make any gains or maintain your weight, not wither away. And then these people
Exactly.
start trying to do OMAD, which,
Yep.
dude, why does OMAD work so well for these people who are eating meat? You
Even
know,
Ted Carr's doing OMAD.
yeah. Yeah.
He's sick of it.
Well, he's like one of them fruitarians, isn't he?
He's a fruitarian OMADer. Like that's going like, why? Why do people gravitate towards OMAD? Like it
Okay.
just doesn't make any sense.
And why do people who eat meat not end up falling apart from OMAD? Yet these
Can't get
vegans
enough.
use it as the excuse of, oh, that's an extreme thing. You fasted. Like people, Jimmy Moore did long-term fasting. I mean, he's a terrible representative of meat eaters, obviously. But Jimmy Moore, he represented fasting and tried to market fasting for a while. And I mean, his health didn't fall apart. He lost a little bit of weight. He does a lot of yo-yo dieting though. But
Yeah,
I
that
mean, a
guy
lot
seems
of
to have some serious
yeah. I
issues
mean,
around dieting.
I think a lot of people who get into promoting diets end up revealing that they're very I don't know. A lot of these people have some issues. We can all see.
Yeah, and especially with veganism, you get like an identity and an ethical sort of like moral boost with it. So I think it really puts people in this place where they don't want to give it up. Like as the years go on with veganism, it becomes harder to then give it up because now you're like, I'm a 5-year vegan. It's like an Alcoholics Anonymous. You get your chip, you get your 5-year chip, your 10-year chip. It's like you don't want to give that up, you
It's an
know.
ego
And it
thing.
becomes more about not losing the chip than it does about how good you're feeling or anything like that. And if you're not careful, you could really let it slip away from you, you know.
That's a good
Um,
point, man. Yeah, the longer they go, they feel more accomplished. You know, they're proving
yes,
something to themselves. They're proving something to everyone around them. You
yep.
know, even if,
And think about it. You're an 8-year vegan, and somebody comes along who's 2 years vegan. You're like this god, you know. And it
yeah,
really is like that.
yeah. Ask me some questions. You know,
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, no, I've been doing this forever.
I
How do
know
you
what's up.
feel?
Amazing. I
Uh,
feel fucking amazing. Every
so
day
what
I
else
wake
did these
up, I
guys?
look in the mirror, get a big old heart on right away.
Ryan says that he's horny as fuck. He's pounding it, dude. Balls deep, just like Durian Rider.
Well, that's what the funniest parts about this stream were, just hearing Ryan and this guy talk about how great they feel.
Hmm.
But this guy, your friend Jackson, or I don't know how well you actually know the guy. Um,
We're acquaintances.
yeah. So
We're not best friends. You know, he outs information that I'm not too stoked about, our private conversations, you know, and he does it again in the name of veganism. But you know, you see what happens. Like I'm not arguing with him in the background. Like
yeah,
people think, and that's another thing, and I want to be public about this, is that's how Ryan tries to make it sound. Drew's been in your ear manipulating you. You guys need to understand.
you had one
Jackson,
conversation, right?
we had yeah, we talked last Friday on the stream. And then Jackson immediately wanted a rematch or a redebate, either on my channel or his, which he was like, okay, who won this debate? And he claimed that he won the debate. And I was like, I don't
What are
even
you
know. I didn't even
talking
get to
about,
say
man?
anything, to be honest with you. But here's the thing. The loser wants a rematch. Winners don't want immediate rematches, guys. You need to understand that. A loser says, hey, I want another shot at this. And that's
Yeah.
what he told me. Now, I'm not saying after the fact that I'm like, I blew him out of the water. We barely even had a back and forth. It was basically him going off about studies and his perspective,
It didn't
right?
seem like a debate to me. I mean, from what I caught of that conversation, which wasn't even half of it, I kind of turned it off, was
Right.
somebody trying to justify and stay inside of a glass house, and someone just furiously polishing the windows on the glass house as he's fogging them up, you know, drooling over what's outside of the glass house. That's what I saw.
Yep. And then when I did my little outro, just speaking to the audience, I said, guys, one of the best ways to argue with people is to let them literally convince themselves out of it. You let somebody just ramble, 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 they actually get to the point where they are not even believing the shit that's coming out of their mouth. And they're
You could
just
hear
saying it
it.
to win the argument. And I just was like, okay. And I sat back. And then the next day or 2 days later, he hits me up and he's like, hey dude, I'm thinking about taking you up on your 30-day challenge of switching diets with me, to eat meat and do it as a science experiment because I'm claiming to be Mr. Science, and in order to be Mr. Science, I need to be able to experiment and prove it for myself and for the audience. It would be an epic experiment. Oh my goodness, it would be
Dude, that's just a random spot.
just a random spot.
Yeah, man. It's like
Um,
you just get those vegan eyes, man. This is what happens with veganism, and
holy
they
shit.
get this manic mannerism. Here we go. Well, I'm trying to find a flattering spot for him. That's better.
Yeah,
There we
that's
go.
better. Yeah, yeah. So,
So,
uh, you know, he ends up he ends up coming to me after the fact saying, Drew, I want to do this meat thing. Like I was done. And then, oh, by the way, in between that, he made a fucking video trash talking me for 25 minutes, which I didn't even watch. And he sends me the thumbnail. He's like, my thumbnail game's on point. He's just over there talking shit. I'm just ignoring. And then he comes in and he says, I want to do this meat experiment. So it's like, what the hell? You know, they're putting this thing on me. Like, I'm trying to move on. I even told
yeah.
him in the chat, I'm done arguing with vegans. I'm ready to move on and focus on my own health and help other people do the same. That was my final words to him.
Yeah.
And then he goes and he makes another post yesterday talking even more shit. And I'm just like, dude,
This
what's
is
going
what
on here?
happens, man. It's like the first time you introduce somebody to new ideas that kind of shatter their worldview, they demonize you, right? They fucking hate you. You become the enemy. You become the the evil man who's trying to destroy all the good in their world, and the good being their sheltered little reality, their little glass house that they've been polishing up their whole fucking life. Hopefully not their whole fucking life, but with veganism, usually a few years, right?
Yeah.
So they get upset with you. You shoot the messenger, and then gradually, they internalize that battle and they start battling it out in their own head, and that's where he's at talking to Ryan. Right? It's like he's internalizing. He's seen the contradictions. He's
Yep.
intrigued. He wants to try animal foods. He
Yep.
understands that he's missing something. He feels. I mean,
Well, I want to say this. This is my theory now.
mm,
So immediately after we talked, that conversation we had, he was inspired to start going to the gym locally to him in El Salvador, some little rinky-dink gym down the street. And he was even sending me freaking selfies of his abs and shit like that the next day. And he's like, "See, I'm all kinds of gains, blah blah blah." Right? And I was like, "Okay, whatever. We can talking shit." But here's the thing. I think that he tried to do some lifts that he used to be able to do, and he just didn't feel like he had it. And I think he's just thinking to himself, "Man, what if these motherfucking carnivores are right? What if I go pound a steak and some eggs, and I hit that weight pile, and it feels like it used to feel?" And that is the curiosity killed the cat.
he's absolutely conflicted. I mean, and that's what's so fascinating to see is just how he he he's internalized the struggle. He's internalized this dialogue that you had with him, and it's bouncing around in his head like a freaking
Yep.
ping pong ball. And he
He's on his
understands.
bicycle for 12 hours a day. Just
Yeah,
fucking 12
running
hours.
from it, just running from the reality, right? It's like it's behind me now. It's behind me now. Fuck, I feel it. I feel it. It's like hot pursuit, man. I'm gonna listen to a little clip here, and I know you listened to the whole thing. I popped in a couple times during the chat. We were having tech issues. I'm having tech issues of sending audio through to Drew from my microphone and from the desktop. So you guys are going to be able to hear this. Drew's just going to see it, and I'll give you a quick synopsis of what it is. I'm just going to hit some random spots, and we'll see what's going on here. So
percent sure, not 99% sure, I'm going to be buying land in Central America so that I can live on a veganic farm and not contribute to the industrial food system and grow fruits and vegetables so that I can be even more ethical and sustainable than when I was living in a city, because it's that important to me.
Okay, so he's on this kind of trustafarian rant about I'm going to buy land in Central America. I'm going to create a veganic farm. I'm going to create a totally veganic fruit farm, and I'm going to live just off of my own fruit. You know anybody who's tried something like that?
Yes, I do. I know several people that moved to Hawaii, the big island of Hawaii, because land is cheap and the climate is right, and you can grow exotic fruits. And they have the whole thing in their head where they're going to go there, they're going to live off the land, they're going to
Just fruit. We're going to live off of the plants. We're going to do it
Yep.
veganically. We don't need any animals. How's it work
Yep.
out?
Don't need any. Don't just manual farming all day long. We're meant to be farmers. This is natural. It's gonna feel good to us. We can just soak in that sun, and we can basically live this lifestyle forever and ever. And it doesn't matter how deep into the farming you are. You're still gonna have to buy stuff from town, the beans and the tofu and all this other stuff. And I mean, you might produce a decent amount of calories and some high quality fruits, but that's all it's going to be. It's not going to be a full sustaining ecosystem, and it's going to be hard as shit, by the way.
Absolutely. No, and none of these people end up staying on a vegan diet anyways. These people, they end up moving out to the country. They think they're going to stay vegan. They realize you cannot feed yourself off of your own land as a vegan. No matter how much you've got there, you're not going to be able to give yourself proteins, fats that are necessary if you're growing fruit. He's focusing his whole diet on the one non-essential macronutrient, right? We're not even talking about these other little micronutrients in there. They're essential fatty acids, essential amino acids. You're not going to live off of just frickin' fruit. And these fruitcakes, they get so demented in their logic, they get so lost in this ideology. They really think that this is going to happen. But there's people down in Central and South America right now trying to start their little veganic fruit farms and stuff like that. All of them end up getting super emaciated and sick. Look at Freely.
Yep.
Freely is a great example. They all end up showing massive degeneration physically, mentally, and emotionally. And they all realize that you can't live off the land as a fucking vegan. You need animal husbandry.
So you guys want some dirt. So here's the deal. So there's a couple known centers in the big island of Hawaii around where I lived. And you can go there, you can woof on the land, which people probably know what that is. You go there, you exchange work in order to live there for
willing
free,
workers on organic farms is what it's called.
So it's this whole process, right? But the ones that I knew about, people would go there, they would travel there, they would work on the land, and all of them said that pretty much everybody was going into town every single day, and even the raw vegan farms that people were living on, they were leaving the property every single day and going into town and getting food at the local stores, and everybody was eating sandwiches and stuff like that. And then they'd come back to the, the raw vegan paradise that they were living at, and they were also not able to even close to sustain themselves on the food that was produced by that land. And that's not even talking shit. I'm just saying, like,
This is the
land,
reality of it.
this
You're
is
not
the
going to live off of
reality.
fruit. You're not going to live off your freaking banana trees. Like I've got 15 acres. I can feed my whole family using animals off that land. I could feed 0 people using plants off of that land. These people are so delusional.
Right. Like, you'd be better off growing a garden that had like your spices, your herbs, a couple different like tasty things that supplemented your plate. And then, like you said, you have like, all your pig feeds, to capture pigs and run some cows on the land and all this other stuff, some goats and whatever. And you'd be living real good versus somebody who's working their ass off trying to farm and not making it happen. I mean, it's just, you're not, like you said, the proteins, like, you're not growing beans. Nobody's growing lentils on their land. That's what Vegan Revolution was trolling me on my channel. And he's like, I've worked with veganic farmers and I know all about this stuff. And
Dude, these people have never done anything like that. They're on every live stream. They're watching this. He's not working.
The guy, he lives in the UK. Like, bro, you telling me you're out in the UK farming exotic fruits on your land and you're growing lentils? Like, no way, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here.
It's like Durian Rider. Remember when Durian Rider said they should be growing bananas in Iceland? They should be growing bananas in Iceland.
They should be growing bananas. Sure.
In Iceland, mate.
So funny, dude.
These people are
Bananas
so
about the only thing you can grow
dumb.
in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Bananas grow everywhere, man. Bananas are literally weeds in Hawaii, and yes, it's true. You can find them in the wild. You can. Here's another funny thing I want to talk about. This one hit me this week, which was really funny. People talking about going to kill an animal with your bare hands. If you think that you're a real carnivore, go try and catch even a jackrabbit with your bare hands and kill it and eat it and all this bullshit, right?
Go make a sandwich. Go make bread.
But how many vegans are farming without tools? You can't even chop down a fucking banana tree without tools. Dude.
Go do a full day of eating video without a blender. Come on.
Right? Yeah, a $600 Vitamix. Like, everybody's got one.
A juicer and a blender.
And you need one too. You need a Vitamix to make vegan smoothies. You can't do it with a regular ass blender.
Yeah.
Give me a break, dude.
Go make.
I had all the stuff, guys. Give me a break.
Go make a Beyond Burger with your bare hands. You can't make that shit, vegans. No, these people are crazy. It's their version of nature is so skewed, right? And they only and it transforms according to whatever point they want to make, right? So they'll say, go kill an animal with your bare hands, right? And they'll say, but then at the same time, if you say, well, look at these animals, they eat other animals, is that not okay? Appeal to nature fallacy, right? So it's just it's whatever they want in whatever moment. I mean, some of these people, they're so demented. Let's hear another clip and get in there. So let's reiterate. Both of us agree, right? I've never met a single veganic farmer who's feeding any single person completely off of their land, not to mention a whole crowd of people. Have you ever met one of these people that's been successful?
So when they say veganic, I think what they're also meaning is like 100% natural, no pesticides, like all this stuff.
No animal manure either.
And no, that doesn't exist. Even the vegan cafe that was one of the big name vegan cafes in town there, still farms with like normal, like the people who own the cafe aren't vegan. So like they still are farming with like more regular mainstream practices. Yes, they serve vegan food there, but how did they farm it? Did they not use cow manure? Hell no. They're still using all the regular stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Yep. So I'm going to skip back a little bit. I think I went forward too much. There were some interesting parts here in the middle.
And trying it for a 30-day YouTube experience and then experiment and then going back to veganism if I feel either just as good or worse, going back to veganism. I don't think that eating a few local eggs is the same thing as killing a human being and eating that for my thought experiment.
What magical nutrients are in eggs that you can't get from a plant-based diet?
Okay. So right there, he's talking about my experiment that I'm trying to do. He says, my experiment, I'm going to eat eggs for like 30 days. And here's the two options he gives himself for the outcomes of the experiment. Option number one, he feels just as good, feels normal, because obviously he feels amazing on a vegan diet. He feels so amazing. His digestion's perfect. His performance is incredible. His libido's out of this world. His, the women everywhere he goes just bow before him and beg him for his bodily fluids. It's just he's so successful as a vegan. That's the one option. He feels just as good because he can't get any more awesome than how he is, obviously. Second option, he feels worse. And regardless, he's going back to a vegan diet. He's just doing it to prove all these people wrong. I'm just going to do it to prove them wrong. What's wrong with it? And then Ryan goes, well, what nutrients can you get from eggs that you can't get on a plant-based diet? And that's basically the clip. So I'm for the audience, I've got to tell Drew what happens in the clip because he can't hear it because I'm too dumb to get the audio going through.
Thank you for the recap. And by the way, the impressions are we don't even need the thing, dude. This is better. Plus, we won't get flagged. You know what I mean? This is great.
You can't get flagged for commenting on videos like this, anyways.
I know. These guys wouldn't do it.
It's if you just re-upload somebody's videos, then that's a copyright violation. Yeah, they seem fair.
What does there say, man? What does there say about that? I mean, I don't think that that's going to be the outcome. I think that he's going to. Okay, here's the deal. So when people are claiming to be well-off vegans, and then they use a little bit of animal products, like 10% of their calories, they're probably not gonna feel anything.
No. And if they've told themselves that they're not gonna feel anything, it's much less likely that they're gonna feel anything. They eat one egg a day.
And Chong, he calls them Cheech and Chong. It's on 420, guys. Come on, they're celebrating.
Oh yeah, it is. It's 420 today.
Holy fuck, man. God, this could have been a lot better. They should have just been blasted, like the bong in the screen. And they could have just been having this conversation just lit. How good would that have been?
Ryan's got like a glass blowing business or something that he's doing to keep himself afloat there. Ryan hits the bong.
For sure. Oh yeah, come on.
He definitely does a little. He chiefs the reefer a bit.
Oh yeah. And I got nothing against that, Ryan. Come on, we're both California guys. Come on, buddy. I know.
At least you could offer us some.
Right.
Well. All right, so yeah, there's almost nothing to say about that.
There's almost nothing to say. Like, I don't think that's.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I don't think that will be the outcome of the experiment, and I can't conceive of a way where you wouldn't notice something, especially Jackson. And I think the comment that really turned him, now that it's really clicking in my head, is he made a mention to me in my comments, and I said, Jackson, you're starting to sound crazy. And it was the first time I said any type of like personally offensive thing to him.
Yeah.
And it really was kind of more in a passive way. I was just like, you're starting to sound crazy.
You're so nice to the guy, man. You've been really gentle with him.
I mean, that's not my intention, is to start like this direct. When people want to roll up and they want to actually have a real conversation, I'm going to respect them.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. If they're being douchebags, I have no problem trashing them.
Right, if they're hiding behind a fake veneer and chucking stones from the glass house, it's just like. But yeah, I mean, he wants to talk to you. Jackson's he asked me today if I'd come on his stream. He wanted to talk to me today, and I didn't have time. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't sleep that much last night, and I've been doing too much streaming. But after watching it, I was excited to get on and talk to Drew about what happened. So I guess I'm gonna end up talking to Jackson at some point this week. Maybe sooner than later, or maybe in a couple weeks. He said he's moving hostels, but the guy wants dialogue. He wants to come out of it. I don't know him that well, but just on first impressions, nothing against him, but he seems like he's really conflicted. He seems like he's kind of maybe on his last straw with veganism, and he's got kind of that manic vibe. He's got that manic, malnourished vibe, and everyone sees
pure
it.
Pure observation. That's just what I have to say.
Yeah.
Hello, boys and girls. Charlie Brown. Good to see you, Bart.
That's right, Charlie Brown.
Let's get some more clips in, man. This shit's good, dude.
Yeah, the clips are fun. So let's continue with Ryan here. You can see Ryan looking off, and that's like an album cover photo right there. Let's take do a screenshot of Ryan right there looking off in the distance. We need to Photoshop a nice beach behind him and play some Enya music.
There are none, and that's why I've been advocating on my YouTube channel for a
Guys.
plant-based diet, and that all these carnivores are putting out pseudoscience.
It's like he's been abducted
but
by a
there's
UFO.
just too many people that are messaging me and saying that you're just a tribal vegan, Jackson. You need to try it for yourself. So I thought maybe it'd be cool to raise a few $1,000s for animal sanctuaries and try it for myself. Like, let's really talk about the exploitation.
Okay. Oh, wait.
Jackson, you're just letting them get in your head. I mean, people say all sorts of crap to me all the time, particularly people who have an agenda against veganism, an agenda against me. They'll say stuff like that too, like, oh, if you only ate meat, you would be a better whatever, jump higher, run faster, blah, 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 more muscle, all this. They'll just say that, you know? I mean, they don't have any science to back up what they're saying, and I'm surprised
The
you
body
kinda
language
took
is
their bait
priceless.
on that. You know, given
So yeah, I think you remember this point of the conversation probably. Jackson says that he doesn't see a problem. Why not just try it? And a lot of his friends have been saying, look, man, you're just kind of dug in. You're not being objective here, and basically, you know, you're being closed-minded, and I want to be open-minded. And Ryan says, oh, yeah, but people say crap to me all the time. You know, they say I jump higher or, you know, have more muscle, but there's nothing. There's no proof. So just more of the coping.
I mean, what can you say to that? Like, Ryan said something, and Ted also said the same thing. They're like, what more do I need? Like, what more do I need? I already jump high. I already run far. I'm already strong. Okay, I get that. But let's look at that in terms of health, okay? Forget the performance, forget the athleticism, forget the aesthetic bullshit, right?
Yeah.
The vanity. Let's talk about health. Do you ever reach 80, 90 years old and you're like, I'm okay being 80% optimal? Fuck no, dude. You want to be as 100% on point as possible. Sure, you're going to have little days here and there where you get drunk and you get hungover and you throw your health away for 24 hours. But these are like little teeny tiny glimpses into the grand scheme of things. You don't want your entire year to be at 80% health optimal. You want to maximize that.
In your 30s, man. It's like Jackson's what? He's probably 27. You know how old he is?
Yeah.
28, 27.
Yeah, that's time to start thinking about long-term health.
He's coming into his 30s, you know, the hairline starts receding, start losing a little bit of that hair, start thinking, dang, am I getting old? Am I getting old? I don't know. I don't know. And it's like, if you're not functioning better coming into your early 30s than you were, you know, I'm not, you're never going to hear me come out and just talk about, oh, I'm perfect health. I'm always like, I'm just so amazing. I'm going to sell whatever I'm doing. You're never going to hear me do this stuff. But here's what's up. I do feel better now that I'm 32 years old than I did when I was 19 years old. And obviously, this is not all just due to me eating meat. I wasn't a vegan when I was 19. I was never really vegan for a stretch of like 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. But in that, I was eating meat all the time, periodically breaking it. So I was never really vegan for 2.5 years. But during 2.5 years, I experimented. And I was pretty objective, and I wasn't attached to promoting it, so it was pretty easy for me to eventually say, you know what, I'm fucking done with this. I'm not doing it anymore. It doesn't fucking work for me. But it's like, man, if you're coming into your 30s and you've got any doubts, why not try? That's just what amazes me. Guys like John Venus, where it's like, I perform so well, I feel great. But then it's like, oh yeah, I've been injured for the last year and a half. I haven't been lifting. I've lost a lot of my gains, and I'm not performing as optimally as I could. But it's not due to diet. It couldn't be due to diet. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, how do you not know? Or how do you know that? How do you know if you don't eat some animal foods, you're not going to perform better? I guess that's what you did to Jackson. That's how you kind of they think you're doing this evil black magic, but you're just actually telling them what their conscience already tells them.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably just things that you don't consider until you talk to somebody who's already on the other side. You know, the injury thing, that's not commonly talked about. Like, vegans not healing from injuries, that's not a normal thing. We hear about the digestion, we hear about deficiencies, we hear about brain fog, we hear about libido. We don't hear about injuries, and this is a thing that is that's being like talked or barely being talked about. So, yeah. Anyway, so.
Absolutely. The injuries, man.
There, sorry.
You know, I know what happens. You read the chat. You got to put the chat behind. Put the chat behind you.
No, my brother popped in with his, and he was filming me. So I was like, what is going on here? I'm being incepted.
Just a reflection of a reflection of a reflection of a reflection.
Nature boy.
Peace reflections, dude. That's what we should do. We got to watch Nature Boy, man. I haven't caught up on Nature Boy in freaking months. But no, we'll continue with this. We'll continue with
Yeah.
with
Let's get some more clips, man.
little white.
Let's get
little white
another
Nature Boy.
segment.
Yeah, we'll jump
Like-
forward. You jump forward or
Yeah.
back?
You know, dude, it was like the same argument all the way. I literally took an hour and a half off in the middle of it somewhere. But
Yeah, let me
there's
come back to
parts
like
where
the.
Jackson's like,
I'm gonna go back to 30 minutes in and see what that
Right.
is.
yeah, they're really like talking over each other for a while, and they're getting heated.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Ryan is quite concerned for the vegan movement, as if Jackson eats some animal foods, it's just gonna
Some
totally
ethically
destroy.
sourced local animal foods too. That Jackson's like, yeah, I can even get this stuff ethically. You
Dude,
know?
he could walk outside and just find some, like his neighbor right now is gonna have chickens that'll give him eggs for like 30 cents an egg. Yet Ryan wants
Or
him to eat
just
imported
free.
soy, right?
Yeah.
Right. His neighbor's probably got a goat that they slaughtered that week, and he could just go get some goat meat. But
Yeah, there's a lot of arguments that
unethical.
they did make. Jackson pointed out, and he says that he points this out commonly on his channel, is that people who are vegan in LA are way better off than people who are eating meat in LA. But if
not
you were to
true.
really break it down and say, compare it to somebody who's like in Alaska who's eating a conventional vegan diet versus somebody who's homesteading and killing like a few deer per year, and eating and feeding their family off that, like that is technically more vegan, and that's true. And the fact that he can even see that to begin with is quite amazing, because Ryan's like, why would you harm an animal if you don't have to? And intentional, Ryan pulled the good old intentional killing is different than accidental killing.
Yeah.
Like,
to kill millions of squirrels and
but
displace animals. And...
it's not an accident. It's not an accident if it's for your food source. That's like saying that we are unintentionally killing animals for our food source. It's the exact same thing. It doesn't matter that we're eating it at the end of it.
Dude, I'm not
It's
intentionally
being
killing these
run over.
animals. It's just the only place to get meat from.
That's exactly.
And I'm
Right,
not about
sorry,
to.
I'll
And I'm not about to
explain
eat this lab-grown meat bullshit. I'm not about to eat this, CRISPR, genetically modified CRISPR lab-grown meat that Bill Gates, Richard Branson, and these other philanthropists who all publicly state that they want to depopulate the planet. I'm not about to eat this shit. I don't know what these people are giving you. So yeah, I mean, it's why did he say that vegans in LA are better off than meat eaters in LA? How do they justify that?
He's saying that because you have no way to ethically hunt these animals, and he even went as far as to say that with the amount of people that we have on the planet, this would be completely unsustainable because that amount of people couldn't harvest that amount of meat in the wild. So it's a completely moot point. But he's like, in theory, yes, it is more vegan. So, hey, if that's the direction we need to go, why don't we focus on that, vegans? Why don't we work together to focus on that direction where we can all be super healthy? We can all go towards this like super ethically sourced animal harvesting or whatever.
You know how many deer there are in Northern California where it's illegal to hunt them? They kill people by just walking out in the roads. You know how many people die in like Santa Cruz County and in the northern regions of California because of these deer that are like freaking rats. They just walk right up to people's property and people aren't allowed to kill them.
This is completely random, but there's these, towards the end of my veganism, I was watching hunting shows on YouTube. There's multiple people now that do these 100% nature challenges. Imagine trying to do this as a vegan, where you literally go out into nature with just some tools and you survive for X amount of days, 30 days.
Naked and
or whatever.
Afraid, they get vegans on there every once in a while, and they always end up just pissing everybody off, and they almost get eaten by their partners, and they always end up giving up veganism.
Right.
They're like, I'm just gonna live off of coconuts. This one chick was trying to just live off of coconuts, and then like it was like the second or third season, and they're on the beach, and this guy's like going out. He's like, fuck this, I'm going to get some crabs, and he's like getting crabs and lobster. She's like, I'm not gonna eat that. And the whole time she's just pissing everybody off. Wouldn't help with anything. Just laying on the beach, dehydrated because coconuts are not hydrating. If you just drink coconuts, you don't drink any
it's got
water.
a bunch of sugar.
Eat any food. It's just dehydrated her. Naked and Afraid, man. There's the vegans on there are hilarious. They always get fucked.
So the guy who did this challenge that I'm thinking of, not only did he set out to survive for 30 days, he set out to not lose a single pound of body weight. And I think he did it. And he was eating beaver, he was eating duck, he was eating bear, literally refrigerating bear in the ground.
Nice.
Like all these regular methods, like stuff you can do, like, you know, it wasn't even that out of control. You know what I'm saying? Like now you add farming to that. Bart K, where's the fertile women at? Bart, damn, Bart really knows how to
not in the
party,
vegan
dude.
community.
Exactly.
Not in the vegan community. So yeah, all right, let's go back to some clips here.
Yeah, this stuff's funny.
Ryan's counting something on his hands. Let's see what he's got to say.
If the science says you don't need to, 90% or 100% vegan gets the same results according to the studies that you are choosing to pick.
Yes.
What is the needlessly killing animals? You really don't have to. You don't have any SIBO or anything like that. I don't understand why. If you're a vegan, which is a moral philosophy, a choice not to harm and exploit animals, why would you want to even consider harming and exploiting animals when there's absolutely no need? Tell me.
So here's why I've been thinking and considering doing a 30-day meat included diet. And I should just say, very much just considering. I've in no way made my mind. I haven't eaten any animal products. I swear on Maggie's life, who's the love of my life, who's sitting right there.
He swears on his dog's life he
I'm
hasn't
not
eaten any animal products yet.
Period. I'm just talking to friends to seeing if it would be a beneficial thing on the internet with lots of people viewing who have been in these heated discussions about carnivore versus
Jackson
vegan,
weighs less than me right now, and he's 4 inches taller.
Vegan. I simply
and I'm skinny right now.
It might be an interesting experiment as somebody who hasn't had health issues to include these
Every guy that I
used
to cycle with, by the way,
if these benefits from these ex-vegans and carnivores
not little
pertain
tiny
to
guys
someone
like
like me who's thriving off of veganism. Do I get slightly better mental cognition? Do I get slightly better recovery, energy, whatever? I think that, and so let's talk about why I am thinking about it versus you saying no. If you're
now he's trying to justify why he's thinking about it to himself and to his audience that he knows are pissed.
No, I'm saying especially a person like myself, like you, like Dr. Garth Davis, like Nimai Delgado, everyone I know who's just I saw.
I know, but us as YouTubers, we are representatives of everyone who's vegan.
Can you pause it?
Yep.
Did you see the picture Sean Baker posted today of Nimai?
Yeah, dude, Nimai Delgado. It's like, dude, I barely even lift anymore, and it's like that guy's as big as me, man. He's like their golden child. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Like that. There's nothing impressive about Nimai Delgado's physique, man. He probably weighs like 160 pounds lean, at like 5'10" or 5'11".
Interesting, huh?
Come on, guys. So yeah, Nimai Delgado. You got me. You got all these amazing people. You got. He's so afraid. He's so afraid of Jackson expressing his thoughts, right? And it's such a funny psychological thing to see somebody so freaked out by somebody simply considering changing their diet. Like this is.
Yeah, and he hasn't even done it yet.
He hasn't even done it. He has to swear that he hasn't. I swear I haven't committed the sin. I haven't done it. I haven't done it. But I'm thinking about it. It's just, no, why would you even think about it? The science tells us, the science is like, what science are you even talking about? Is there a single long-term vegan population that's been studied in the history of the world? No. There's not a single vegan culture ever. Where's the science? Where's the long-term studies on actual vegans long-term? There's not a single study. You have the Adventist studies, which are not vegan. Right. What the hell is he talking about? What are you talking about, Shaggy?
That's who I was thinking of, Shaggy. I always want to call him Scooby-Doo, but it's Shaggy. All right.
We got Scooby and Shaggy here.
Thanks for clarifying.
So, yeah, I mean, it's funny. I love the body language, and I love seeing the back and forth, right? And it's like you're watching. It's like watching somebody. I don't know. It's just really fascinating. Let me skip forward though. Let's skip towards the end here because they do the same thing for a long time. Ask Yourself is in the chat. Vegan Gain's wife is in the chat. Everybody's just triggered as hell. Everybody's freaking out, trying to figure out how can we, discredit this guy. Let's preemptively discredit him in case he goes.
Can we see what
vegan.
Ask Yourself donated right there? Can we see what he asked?
Yeah, name the trait. What the hell do you think he asked?
Well,
but it's this weird variation. I'm trying to see if I can go back.
Haven't done it yet, and I'm trying to.
He in that thing he had just Oh, never mind. Nah, it was in the top of the replay in a super chat. but
Everybody keeps
whatever.
saying, yeah. I had it pulled up for a while. Everyone keeps saying NTT, NTT. That's name the trait, name the trait, name the trait, name the trait, name the trait. They think that this is actually a good argument, but it's the stupidest fucking argument I've ever heard. Name the trait that makes it okay to eat animals but not okay to eat humans. How about this? Name the trait that makes people morally culpable for not eating animals but doesn't make animals morally culpable for eating other animals. Name the trait. Well, what are you gonna say, guys? And then we'll take it from there. What's the next step?
This argument is over my head. Vegans, you're too you know, shit, I don't even know the word. You're
Sentient.
fucking too smart.
Too sentient.
I was gonna say not ethical, but what's the word when people pretend to be smart? Like they pretend to be like hipsters. You know what I mean? I can't even think of the word right now. Sorry, brain fog. It's from the meat.
I mean, there's a million different ways you could call it. You know, let's see here. No way. Ask yourself shows up. They pull ask yourself in, and of course it's his cartoon. He can't even show his freaking face. He can't even show his twitchy little punk face. This is hilarious.
Addict debate about like all the other options and like what exactly these people have done and all their exact situations. The critique I'm putting here is kind of like a principled critique, right? I think his position, if he maintains at least the position that there's no trait, is just flat out contradictory, right? So it's like a philosophical. Wait, please. It's a philosophical critique. It's not. One second. It's a philosophical critique. It's not. I'm not just getting at the empirical.
Somebody pointed out in the
pragmatic
chat.
data.
It's a pseudo-intellectual.
You just said.
Yeah, that's what
went
he
on
is.
quite a
That's
spiel,
exactly
but
what he is.
The gist of it was you were saying that it is justified to add the animal products to your diet, or that you would do it, right? Or you think it's reasonable. Now, in the case of humans, do you hold that same position? Adding human to your diet.
So it's just, humans are the same, so why not eat humans? And they keep harping on about this. This is one of the stupidest arguments. Let's go back to actual human beings arguing, other than a little robo ask yourself there. Robo
like
Isaac.
anyone who's eating any form of animal products is just like lying and unscientific, and that's just a slight difference we have.
Wait.
All right, cool.
Let me back up and hear what he says.
Animal products in the last 6.5 years, and I don't want to or anything like that.
Register Thought brings up this interesting point. There are plenty of people, I'm assuming vegan, who have accidentally eaten egg/meat and they didn't feel any different. There are vegetarians. Why try it yourself? He asks.
It's a great point. It's a great point. Again, and my answer to that, because you asked me the question, is I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to my viewers who support me, who have been messaging me and saying, hey, Jackson, I was vegan for this time. I got health issues. I tried eating eggs or fish, and I very quickly saw benefits. And now I'm including them a couple times in my diet. So that is why I'm just open to, like, I'm giving these ex-vegans a benefit of the doubt that they're not just lying, evil people. And kind of your stance, and I think Ryan's stance, is that like anyone who's eating any form of animal products is just like lying and unscientific. And that's just a slight difference we have.
All right, cool. So you want to see if there's any questions from the comments?
This is so. Let's hope Ask Yourself can come in here and save me. So what Jackson's saying there is he wants to do it for his audience because his audience has been telling him. A lot of people in his audience have been saying, "Hey, I was having problems on a plant-based diet. I added animal foods back in, and I felt way better." And he's at least being kind of semi-honest with himself there. He's seeing all these people around him that are adding animal foods back in, and they feel way better. And then Ryan says, I don't know about that.
We're not getting those messages. I heard him say that. And Angie was in the chat. We're not getting those messages.
Yeah.
Really? No, not one person in your thing is like, fucking vegan diet sucked. Didn't work for me.
Well, they banned him. They banned those people.
Yeah, they just banned you.
What about Drew? What about Bobby? Well, they did it wrong, right?
Did it wrong. We all did juice fasting. We all did raw vegan experiments. And then Jackson's like, yeah, I did all those things. I did all those things too.
So he knows. He sees they're
Every
already
single vegan.
They're already shunning him. They're already preemptively discrediting him.
Even Durian Ryder and Freely did long-term juice fast. Fully Raw Christina has done long-term water fasts and juice fasts.
Well, they preemptively have attacked her. Several people have made videos about her. Fully Raw Christina, she's not really vegan.
Right.
She's, they're trying to, they want to pick out these people who they think could possibly lead people out, and they're pre-declaring them heretics.
Right.
Let's jump forward a little bit. We'll go past
just tell
ask
and who lives
yourself.
a great life. And I've lived on farms where chickens are beautiful and not exploited. They're not even confined. They just run around and they eat bugs. And that chicken
Are they killed though? Are they killed? If they just let them run around, that's cool. I'm gonna go to an animal rescue.
Let's say they are never murdered, and even when they stop producing
poor
eggs,
Jackson,
they're just
dude.
pets at that point that just live out their lives.
Okay,
Let's say
that's different from killing a chicken
Wait,
for food.
Wait, is that I'm talking sustainability right now and ethics. If you lived on a farm and had those chickens and every day those chickens dropped 5 eggs and you ate 200 calories of eggs from those chickens per day,
No,
is
thank
that
you. I don't want
less
the
environmentally?
cholesterol.
Okay, no, we're not talking about health. We're not talking about anything other in real context of the environment and ethics.
So yeah, if the chickens are free roaming, is it okay if they don't ever? And he uses the word murder, which is retarded. Murder is when you kill a human being unjustly. It's not murder when you slaughter a chicken. It's not murder when you eat a freaking egg or when you kill a cow or when you harvest an animal from the wild. Yeah, what do you think about that? It seems like that's the first step. Is the eggs, the free range eggs, for the ethicalness.
I mean, it's a hard thing to deny. I mean, when I was vegan and I was still in Hawaii, I would go to visit people's houses that had like little egg trays, because they would just have chickens and stuff running around their land, and they would just dump eggs all over the place. And that's something that I remember during Ryder back in the day, and Freely talking about how stressed out it makes chickens to have eggs. These fucking chickens are having eggs nonstop, and on top of that, they only have eggs for like a certain few amount of years where they pump out eggs all the time.
Yeah.
And then after that, they basically live the rest of their life as just like regular hens, and they have eggs every once in a while until they're like 15 years old.
Yeah. Or
and,
you kill them and you eat them, and you raise some of the younger chicks, and you let the producing animals flourish.
Right. But what I'm saying is that it's hard to ignore the fact that these eggs are going to be there regardless. You're literally wasting them if you don't use them, in my opinion. I mean, it's actually wasting food at that point.
Cholesterol. So, I don't want the cholesterol though.
Right, the cholesterol. I mean, dude, look at the what super long-term vegans do we really have? I know that the vegans are going to say, oh, they're going to point to the doctors, and they're going to say they look great.
Yeah, McDougal, Dr. McDougal,
and
Dr.
that's
McCrazy
one.
Eyes.
That's just one of them that looks bad.
Dr. Gregor. Dr. Gregor.
Okay,
he looks great. Terrible. He looks fantastic. He looks fucking amazing. I mean, who else is there? Who other long-term vegan docs
there's
are
Neil
there?
Barnard. There's
Dr. Crapper.
Clapper.
Yeah.
Yep. The Crapper. He looks just whatever, you know. And there's that one really old guy who's like 98 or whatever that I'm sure has snuck in plenty of animal products over the years, but
a lot of these guys are not even vegan. They're just long-term plant-based, right? They're primarily plant-based, not even vegan.
Plant-based, exactly.
You just plant-based, but they, if it fits your narrative, use them, pump them.
Yep, I think even Esselstyn has an interview with somebody at this table with this foreign guy, and I don't remember which interview exactly, but the guy's interviewing him and being like, "Oh, so the vegan diet, and Caldwell's like, "Huh?" Kind of looks at him like, "Huh? Vegan diet? No." It's primarily a plant-based diet, and then he keeps on going like that. Like, he's basically saying like, that's not. I don't say vegan, I say plant-based, and that's what the evidence supports, you know. But anyway.
Yep. Yeah. I'm not trying to like freeze this on things to make him look nutty. That's just what happens.
Dude, I was looking at that and I can't hear the volume, you know. So I'm looking at Jackson just speaking, and his eyes and his expressions and his mouth moving and everything, and his face is very narrow and gone.
Imagine that's your son, man. Imagine that's your kid, and you see them just slowly getting worse and worse into this state. And every time you talk to them, they're telling you how amazing it is and how you got to stop eating meat, and you just see them declining.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, it's fucked up. I truly straight up feel bad. I know that he would benefit in terms of filling out on animal foods, 100%.
He'd calm down too. He'd
calm down.
Out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really sad. You jump forward here.
Yep.
time too. From anti-vegan
Look at
to
my
meat
life
eater.
is
So
just like me.
I'm saying it
I
really
usually
depends.
have zero dislikes.
I would say it just really depends on the open-mindedness of the non-vegan that you are speaking to. Some you could do.
Speaking
There's
to.
nothing you could do. There's no way to please some people. Maybe some are more open-minded. Some will follow you. So I'm saying, yeah, you might get a few paleo people that might take what you're saying seriously, but a lot of people just won't care. You're not telling them what they want to hear. If
You're right.
that plants are really good to eat.
And maybe that's why it's not worth it for me to do this experiment. I think I can totally admit after this talk that because I've been talking to my buddy Drew every single day for the last couple of weeks, I have been too influenced by him specifically that I'm like illegitimate if I don't try this, or like I'll be way more legitimate if I do try this experiment.
No, that's a horrible thing to say. That's a
Right.
false dichotomy.
I probably have been too influenced by him. Would you agree?
That's where he says, I agree that I've probably been too influenced by Drew. What do you? There's nothing to bark at. He's under the desk barking at nothing. He says, I've been too influenced by Drew. I've been listening to him too much. And I think I'll have to admit that. So at this point, Ryan's kind of pulled him back in. He's looking at the chat the whole time. He's watching the chat tell him, we hate you if you ever eat meat again. We're going to completely disown you. You were never really vegan. And, Shaggy's pulled him back into the fold at this point. But I think it was interesting when he mentions you specifically. He says, I've been talking to Drew every day. Have you been talking to him every day?
This has got to be the easiest sell of my life, guys. Like, I have not been putting in the work to sell Jackson whatsoever.
How much is the meat industry paying you to do this?
Man, I'm broke. Please, meat industry. If Tyson Foods wants to pay me, I'll start selling Beyond Meat.
Tyson Foods pays the vegans. That's the thing. Tyson Foods. These people think that the meat industry is paying you. Tyson Foods is pushing your Beyond Burgers, dummies. You people don't realize you're just the mouthpieces of a corporate revolution that's destroying the food supply and consolidating all of it and destroying the planet as it does it. As you tell people you're saving the planet. You tell everyone you're saving the world, but you're helping destroy it. People don't realize.
Man, results shine. That's all I got to say, guys. Results fucking shine through all the bullshit. If you have results, you can convince people without really saying much, Like, if you go to the gym and you got one trainer who's out of shape and fat, and you got another trainer that's jacked as shit, who are you going to automatically gravitate towards taking your advice from? Like, it's
pretty crazy. He blames you. It's Drew's fault. He tricked me. He tricked me into it. I'm all done. It's okay. I'm not going to do it. It's just what a funny thing to be living out this conversation in the public sphere, to be having this internal struggle and bouncing it off of other people publicly. So it's like if I would have accepted his offer, he messaged me earlier today and wanted me to come on his show and have a conversation with him. I don't know if it was a debate or what. I don't know what he wanted. I didn't have time. I didn't want to do it earlier today, but I wonder what the nature of that conversation would have been and how the trajectory could have been different from it. Right now, obviously, I'm not going to try to raise money for some fake ass animal sanctuaries where where Gary Yourofsky goes and does some heavy petting on a fucking cow and molests a bunch of chickens and pretends he loves them so much. I'm not trying to raise money for these stupid ass animal sanctuaries where these animals don't even get to breed. They basically go there and they die and they get molested by retard vegans all day. But I would have had a nice conversation with him and hopefully tried to bring him over into the sanity and understand, look, man, what do you have to lose? It's obviously you're being funded right now. I don't think Dad's going to stop paying for your travels if you get off the vegan diet. But yeah, I don't know. Let's. You got anything else to say on this section?
No.
Jump forward a little bit here.
That's what I said at the beginning, because I know that Drew is responsible for getting in the heads of many vegans. Some I know, like Evan and others, like
I want
to
hear
them
Ryan's
not be
outro.
vegan. So I saw him. Oh, now he's working his evil magic on Jackson.
So I know Drew's gotten in the heads of many vegans, and now he's working his evil voodoo on Jackson. Your evil magic, dude. What is this evil magic that you have? What are you doing? You're so sinister. You're so sneaky. What
Dude, I'm not
done?
even like, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's funny. It's really funny. I mean, Ryan, you know, he needs to be careful, man. If he's watching enough content, he's gonna start believing too.
You can see
That's what
that
it
that's
comes
what
down
he's
to.
doing. He's calling it evil magic because he's being lured in. So he's like, oh, like this is not, it's not reasonable. It's not scientific. It's magic. It's bad magic. You know,
I love how they all. It's so funny how like that's become the trend now. Is that they're upset at first that I didn't want to talk about any science, and they were really clowning me hard for this. And then now Jackson's like, I need to do my own experiment. I need to do this. He's like, I would be my own anecdote. I would be my own anecdote. Like he's having this realization.
don't be it.
No, don't be an anecdote.
No.
You cannot be the one of, you know, well, shit. How many vegans fail? We know
Well,
it's like
science is all
a
about
lot.
measuring and experiencing, right? How do you measure? How do you weigh? How do you quantify science? Well, it's through observation. So if you haven't observed how your own body responds in these different situations under different stimulus, how do you know? Right? So if you really want to be scientific, you would try. You would actually try some animal foods and see if you feel better. Now, if you want to be fake scientific, you'd eat a couple eggs, you know, and then, you know, self-sabotage yourself and tell yourself, oh, I feel like shit. I didn't feel good. I ate those eggs. I feel so bad about it. I'm all done. But if you wanted to be objective, you'd have some animal foods. You'd increase the animal foods for about a month, maybe have a steak a day for a month, and you see what happens. You
Oh
see
yeah,
if you feel better.
Jackson would feel it 100%. Even if he's doing great, I'm convinced now after watching this and really like looking at his face, like he just would.
He
There's
wants
no
it.
way that he would.
Like his physiology is crying out for it.
Yeah.
Psychologically, he's crying out to leave the cult. He's probably, I mean, I don't know how many more months. Like one more, 2 more months, he can keep doing this. How long can he
Days,
keep
a matter of
tricking
days.
himself into us? I mean, he could have like a full on psychological breakdown though, just trying to maintain the illusion, right? End up like attacking Drew physically or something. Because
Let's watch Ryan's outro because I think when he actually pieces out on Jackson, I think he does like a little. I'm curious what he says after Jackson leaves because they basically eventually leave on the note where, like you said, Jackson uh, falls back into the vegan's hands, the loving embrace,
yeah.
and
Well, it's more like a back into your abusive relationship, right? Like you
yep.
get smacked back in line, and oh no, I can't live without you. You can't live without me. You can't leave me. You'll be fucking helpless. All your money will be gone. We won't approve of you. You won't have any love anymore. That's what they're all doing in the chat, just like banning meat eaters. They didn't ban Drew. They banned me. Made like 2 comments.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't get banned. I was talking to a lot of people in there.
Yeah, you were talking in there for a while, but I got banned almost instantly. Um, yeah, but they gotta get rid of Bald Man bad. I want to finish this clip, and I'm trying to get to the one part where he talks about this is one of the most classic stupid ass vegan things I've ever heard coming up, and then we'll go to the back end. But you know what I can do? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna change my sound settings and go back to what we played with before.
The mute.
Yeah, I'm going to play the sound. The output device is going to be the monitor. I'm going to turn that volume.
Red Pilled Cuck says, did they have serious health issues like all these ex-vegans?
Wait, where's that?
In the chat.
Oh, okay. It changed. Okay.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'm just going to answer this guy or make a point there because serious health issues is completely subjective. And I don't think most of the people that were having issues had serious health issues. It was more like a lot of small things that added up to an overall suboptimal experience. It wasn't like
me and my friends that dropped out of the vegan diet, we didn't have really seriously bad things. Yeah, like my digestion sucked. I was uncomfortable. I had gas, but like that was just a core foundation to the issues. It wasn't like I had some serious deficiencies or anything like that. And coming into the vegan diet, yeah, I mean, I'm willing to admit that there might be some compromise to my immune system. I took a lot of antibiotics as a kid. I'm still working through that stuff, but long story short, the vegan diet didn't make it any better. It made it worse. So that's the bottom fucking line there. That's all I have to say about that. Your Honor.
What's so stupid is this though? Your gut's messed up. Your gut's messed up. Everyone's freaking gut is messed up. Find me one person whose gut's not screwed up nowadays. You know, the average like 7-year-old has already been through I forget how many rounds of antibiotics, but there's stats out there about the ridiculous amount of antibiotics that children are taking before they're even developed. I mean, we're eating Roundup, which is patented as an antibiotic, and especially if you're eating a lot of these plant foods, even chia, even chia, quinoa, these things, they use Roundup as a desiccant in South America to kill off the crops before they harvest it because it makes them dry out. So they spray the whole field with Roundup, even on non-GM crops. Then the plants die, they dry out. You're absorbing, you're eating a shitload of this Roundup stuff, and it opens up the tight junctions in the gut, destroys the gut microbiome. It's actually patented as an antibiotic because it chelates the soil of vital minerals. So it's like the destruction of the human gut is so rampant these days. Nobody's got a good gut nowadays. And that's why people start going to veganism, because their digestion sucks. They've already got chronic pain. They've already got arthritic symptoms. They already feel like shit. Then they go to a vegan diet. They have a little honeymoon period where they might feel a little bit better, get a little dopamine rush from changing their habits. Then eventually the glass house crumbles. They start to get worse and worse. They degrade over the years. Guys like Phil Escott have experienced this. They're people who've been around the scene for a long time, watching the long-term degeneration. Nobody's got a good gut going into veganism. So to pretend that, oh, everybody's healthy, people like like Ryan are outliers. People who are able to maintain this diet long term are outliers. This dude's not doing physical labor. You put Ryan on a construction job, the guy's gonna fucking crumble, right? You try to put some of these other dudes who are actually doing real physical labor out on a vegan diet, they're not going to maintain it. They're going to understand that they feel like shit. They're not going to go, flounce around in the freaking basketball court and video themselves doing a few staged dunks. I mean, these are not just like weekend warrior. I go to the gym a couple times a week and I hang out on the beach and smoke weed. Normal people who work with their hands have a hard time maintaining a vegan diet for a reason, because it fucks you up. So let's go. Now you can hear it, and I can hear it, and the audience can hear it. Let's do this.
That's why I said he's like the devil. I didn't mean he's
No,
inherent.
you can't work evil magic on me. Like, I am literally all about just figuring out the facts and being science-based, which is why I wasn't afraid of doing a 30-day experiment, because I'm not being influenced by anyone. Like, literally, go watch my videos calling out these carnivores as being liars. I don't think that
I thought it was, yeah, that's why I thought
I don't think that a carnivore diet is healthy.
because they're as you use words, they're non-scientific. They're just making crap up, as I've pointed out too. So therefore, they seem like the last people you'd want to listen to or try to impress in some way. They're just completely, it's a lost case for most of them.
All right, should we try to answer some more questions? Or Ryan, do you have any more questions for me about anything, about lifestyle, any other questions with people in the chat?
Let's take a quick peek in the chat here.
He's like, I can't convince this guy, and that's how we feel when we're talking to people. It happens all the time. And yeah, look at his arms, dude. Seriously, like, man, I'm looking at his arms and his shoulders, and there's just it's like a perfect 90-degree angle on all these vegans. They have no roundness. It's basically just bone on bone. And Ryan works out. Like, he goes to the gym and he eats a lot. So what's the deal, man?
Well, you're just vain. He's an endurance athlete.
He uses such funny examples too. He's like, I'm strong. I helped move a couch the other day. I lifted 30 pounds over my head. That's the minimum requirement for most jobs in America.
He's got endurance. He's got.
That's pretty funny.
That's really funny. All right, so let's keep going. It gets really funny here.
That's the power, guys.
Okay, vegan foot soldier. That's an interesting question. You can answer that if you want or not, but let's see.
Getting pretty lean there, Drew.
Would an amputated human limb from a hospital dumpster?
He's a comedian.
This part right here.
Foot soldiers. You have to understand that.
Listen to this.
He's a meat eater?
No, a comedian. A comedian vegan.
It's the best part.
Vegan foot soldier. Would he eat an amputated human limb? I would rather, in this experiment, eat a non-diseased amputated limb from a hospital dumpster than kill a living chicken. 100%. I'd rather eat the limb because that's way more vegan and I wouldn't have to kill the animal. Yeah, 100%. I'd rather do that.
Honest
100%.
answer there. Good question, Foot Soldier. Seemed like a
I mean, just how can they not see
was
the
muted
fact that
again.
they're killing the animals for their freaking current food, and on top of that, that there is health benefits to it, like the way that we have studied these long-term studies they even talk about that they're citing most of the time, like Mediterranean diet, still has animal foods.
Dude, when you look at Sardinia, I was talking to a guy from Sardinia the other day. They're eating so much meat. There's so much land. There's more sheep on the island of Sardinia than there are
They said
people.
the sound is muted? Or
No, my sound was muted. That's why I said my whole thing. All right, here's what I said, the audience. This whole stream was basically leading up to that beautiful moment when this guy said that it's more vegan to eat a decapitated human limb than it is to kill a chicken. And that just shows you how twisted these people are in their ideology and their worldview. How little they've examined their worldview, how little they examine their own preconceived, their own assumptions about what morality is, what's ethical. It's just inane. And you could see in his eyes as he said it that he knows he's full of shit. He wouldn't eat that. He's lying to himself.
Oh, come on. Yeah, this is ridiculous, man.
Virtue signaling.
Okay. All right.
Absurd. All right, let's...
I'm ready for more...
All right.
crazy ass question, but there's a lot of sense to it.
Oh, he said he ate animal products most of his life and can't say he doesn't know what it's like to feel it. So here's the difference between that. When I was eating animal products my whole life, that wasn't in the context of after having a diet of zero animal products. So what these carnivores are saying, ooh, and that's good, we're getting a bunch more questions, and I want to answer the questions from the chat. What these carnivores are saying is that because for the last 6.5 years, I haven't had any animal protein or dietary cholesterol in my diet, that I am probably depleted on a variety of nutrients.
That's what Bobby's perspective says about me. Yet all my blood results are like, kicking ass for personal.
Here's what's so dumb. This blood results thing. Oh, my blood results. My piece of paper tells me I'm amazing. It's like, well, but you won't try animal foods and see if you feel better. Because your piece of paper tells you feel good. My piece of paper tells me I feel amazing.
I wanted to point out, too, I had amazing blood results 2 years into vegan. I did a high-carb, low-fat diet, Ralto 4, which everybody makes fun of these days. That diet totally sucks. That diet produced amazing blood results for me. And I couldn't put on muscle. I was getting skinny fat as hell. And my digestion sucked. That's why I did a juice fast. Anyways, that's it.
Yeah, but it's, eating a dead human is vegan. Well, I mean, what about, a lot of these vegans, they tell you it's so unethical to eat eggs. It's so terrible to eat eggs. But human abortions are cool. A human is not really a sentient being until, after it's born, after 9 months, after it's already born. So I guess the most ethical thing to eat then would be aborted babies. That's the most vegan, ethical thing in the Durian Rider worldview to eat is aborted baby. Because first of all, they believe the world's overpopulated. They believe this overpopulation propaganda myth, this absolutely arrogant, demonic myth that the world's overpopulated. We got to get rid of the people. We got to get rid of the evil people, which the same people that started the industrial agriculture situation, the same big foundations that funded Monsanto, these are the people who've been pushing this overpopulation myth. So the most ethical thing in their worldview would be eating human aborted babies, right? Because they're not sentient, according to these people, according to Freely, according to the pro-abortion folks. They're not sentient. It's all good. And it's probably super nutritious, right? And it's sustainable, and it's getting rid of evil babies.
Vasectomy.
Exactly. Dr. Gregor's down. Vasectomy, man. All right, let's keep
Did
going.
you make that Durian Rider video today, by the way?
No,
was that
somebody. I shared it on my community page on YouTube. It's somebody else made it. It's called like Durian Rider Air Puncher 2.
Dude, with the fucking sound effects on the kicks and
So
shit.
good.
Oh, who did that? I love you.
Check
I
out my
love you.
Instagram. Yeah, the guy's got a channel. I shared it on my community page. Really funny clip.
Oh.
Durian Ryder like commented like 10 times on the thread too, answering other people's comments.
He loves it?
Yeah, he watched it. He accused some guy of being on steroids. He accused Zen philosophy of being on steroids.
I don't know who that is. I gotta check him out.
Yeah, he's
It's funny shit, dude.
a natural guy.
Have you seen Veggies for Thought, YouTuber? He's got like 2,000-3,000 subscribers. He's really ripped.
No. I feel like he's
Gotta check him
contacted
out.
me. I feel like he's probably banned on my channel. I feel like I've seen his name come up on my channel.
He's not a triggerer. He's actually
Yeah.
trying to be in it for real, but he's ethical based. And
Okay.
I want to get that guy on because he actually has a really good physique. He's only been vegan for like a year and a half though, so that's the thing. Is like
Yeah.
he's not totally bought in terms of like the health long term, but he's like trying to make it work. Anyway,
Yeah, the ethical vegans are just, I mean, that's the dumbest lot of them all. I mean, it's the most inane, but they're the easiest to switch out of it because you're just like, hey, come back to the real world, open your fucking eyes and see what's going on around you, right? Like, go in any rural area around people who actually produce their own food and try to live off the land of themselves and tell me that, that it's ethical to push veganism in the whole world.
Too, but again, just in a alternative world of giving them the benefit of the doubt, the reason it's different, and I'm answering this Hunter guy's question, his name is Hunter something. The reason it's different is because I haven't eaten animal products for the last 6 years, which when I was eating animal products growing up, I never had that 6-year period which was void of animal products. Because I've eaten only plants, these carnivores are saying that I might be depleted in certain things and that introducing them again, I would feel differences. So that's why it's a different experiment than how I was living before, of course.
You know,
And
that whole depletion argument that I heard from Bobby about myself and others is complete BS. There's no science, no studies that say vegans get depleted, particularly vegans who
Yep.
have really great blood tests. And still he makes the
True.
bold-faced claim he's been depleted. And then he gives a reason why I'm not depleted, because I was eating meat for most of my life, which I showed I was like, you've been vegan for 8.5 years and pretty much a vegetarian for 10 years before that. So roughly 18 plus years of vegan vegetarian.
It's total denial. It's like, show us one long-term vegan since birth. Show us one or two generations of long-term vegans, right? There's not a single
right.
there's not a single long-term vegan
And
population.
I look at the people that are vegan since birth, and they're particularly interesting to me, like Nina and Randa, for instance. You know, somebody, man, I don't know. I could really get into a lot of trouble talking about them, but basically, yeah, they're 25 as far as I know. The skin quality, again,
What do you look?
not as, doesn't look like a 25-year-old skin, but their features are of a young girl. That's the thing, is like they're kind of like in a 16-year-old's body, but like their faces are aging beyond their current age, if that makes sense. It's a
Yeah, I mean, you see that on every vegan YouTuber. Look at, I mean, poor Jackson. It's like the guy. You can see the neck starts to shrink in. You know,
yes, the neck, the
you can
shoulders.
see the atrophy, and then you could see exactly the clavicles. You know, like the no muscle mass, the loss of hormones, the loss of
hormones.
the sex steroid hormones not working properly. Garland Farms, what's up, Garland Farms? I've seen a couple of your videos. Yeah, you talked about iodine. Yeah, I agree. Just because I know I've seen this guy and he. All right, Garland Farms talking about iodine. Yeah, if you some of my older videos, we talk about the importance of iodine and DHA from seafood, but it's not something I've talked about in depth on the channel. Maybe you can come on sometime and talk about it if you want. Email me. Sorry.
It's the shoulders. It's a dead giveaway for the vegans. The only vegans I've seen with buff ass shoulders is like John Venus and Brian Turner, but they came into veganism with massive shoulders, and again, they're both hitting that 4-year mark, and they're experiencing their own situations. Brian Turner claims perfect health and all this stuff. He made a little clapback video recently, saying some stuff back to what he has to say to ex-vegans or whatever. But I mean, he has long-term injuries. I brought that up. Anyway.
Absolutely, the long-term injuries, man. Poor John Venus. It's like he's thinking about it, but I mean, how can these people admit to themselves when they've built a whole online identity about it. You know, it's just so sad. I mean, it's cool seeing some people. You know, Bobby was able to really, you know, he was able to kind of break through that false layer of his reality, that false layer of his ego, and I thought that was pretty impressive. A lot of these other people are just they feel stuck.
Well, we're gonna see something really impressive with Bobby's physique because he's already been to the mountaintop, so to speak. And when he was vegan, he was still maintaining that exact same work ethic. So we're gonna truly see the difference between somebody who went into veganism with all the potential in the world, all the technique in the world, has already been there, done that, massive, ripped. Then they went vegan, they lost it all basically. And then you saw what they could gain back as a vegan. And then now you're going to see what happens after veganism because he's going all out right now and he's trying to get, obviously, he's going to eat and do what he needs to do to get bigger because that's what he enjoys doing. And I'm not saying that the approach is necessarily like the healthiest from some of the things that I believe, but either way, he's going to get much bigger than he was capable of getting as a vegan, and that's going to be eye-opening to people, I believe.
Absolutely, and he feels it. You know, I mean, he felt it immediately. He felt his strength improve. He felt his digestion improve. He felt his mental clarity improve. Same thing with Elise, Raw Alignment. She saw everything instantly improve. So it's just we're not going to see. The thing is, you add animal foods back into your diet and you don't go back. The problem is you built a fake identity. You've built a whole false layer of yourself, and it's you're projecting it out on the internet, and you're selling an image, and you're selling this bullshit lie, and it's sad to see people scare themselves back into the closet, right? You know, and that's what we're seeing here. Jackson gets scared back into the closet. He's reading the chat. He's got Ask Yourself bullying him. He's got Vegan Gains girlfriend in there talking to, you know, her wife in there. He's got all the top YouTubers on vegan just about to pounce on him. But in the end, they won't promote him anyways.
Simnet, huh?
Simnet, huh? Yeah, what's up with him?
He's a ghost.
Where's he at? Yeah, it's true.
He hasn't made any he hasn't gotten into any of this drama.
Yeah, I mean he seems like a nice guy. He doesn't like all the bullshit. He probably sees through all these petty games. You know, you never see him criticizing people for not being vegan.
True. That's also true.
But at the same time, you know what's interesting? None of these people would ever promote Jackson anyways. None of these people are going to help Jackson out in building his platform. None of these people want to see Jackson succeed as a vegan YouTube. They're competing with him. So they're ready to eat him up already. These people aren't his friends. These people aren't ready to help him. Same with Bobby. Bobby was like, dude, when the first conversation I had with Bobby, he was like, you know what? I've reached out to a lot of these big vegan YouTubers for, to try to collaborate, to try to build bridges and to try to help people out and see if they could help me build my foundation. And none of them ever responded. None of them ever wanted to collab. None of them ever wanted to hang out or meet up. And as soon as I left veganism, you were here supporting, and you were here saying, hey, come on my show, let's talk. And I think that's the difference. It's like people in the real world, not in this vegan echo chamber, we're ready to embrace people. We're ready to say, hey, it's all good. You know, everybody makes mistakes, and there's a whole life after veganism. And you're trying to promote sustainability. You're trying to promote health. You're doing the exact opposite if you're pushing fruitarianism and veganism. So, guys like Bob, you're going to do a lot of good. And he's going and visiting farms and putting out footage of that, and he's going to make a documentary about like real sustainable agriculture, what's really going on with the agriculture system. So yeah, that's a big difference.
I felt very connected to people after going back to meat and animal foods. Like it made me want to like be around people, and it gave me that vibe again, you know. Whereas as a vegan, I was like, even though I was living in a vegan community, I was very happy just like disconnecting from people, and they were happy being kind of disconnected from each other as well. Like, yes, we spent time together. Yes, we had these vegan potlucks, but it didn't make me want to be around anybody anymore than, yeah, as compared to now. Like, I believe that veganism detaches you from society, detaches you from people, detaches you from yourself, whereas meat is doing all the opposite. Animal foods are doing the opposite.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When the cult leaders, they always isolate people from their friends and families first, right? So, like, the most important thing when somebody starts getting involved with a cult, the charismatic leader tells them, those aren't your real parents, right? Like Nature Boy does this. That's your Babylon family. He tells them that's your Babylon family. You come over here, we in nature, we be fruitarian. Part of these cults, most of the cults in the 20th century always have a dietary aspect as well, and they always use vegetarianism or even veganism. Some of the more extreme ones. You know, not Marilyn Manson, Charlie Manson was a big proponent of. I just realized I left my router on. Hold on, let me turn it off. Charlie Manson was a big proponent of vegetarian diets and animal rights. Osho, the Rajneeshi cult was based around vegetarianism as well. You know, a lot of these cults, they've got a dietary aspect to them. They use vegetarian and veganism to open people up to suggestibility, and I would say to make them more easily controlled. You weaken them, especially the men.
Agreed.
Yeah, so the disconnect is real, man. People that go vegan, they want to push everyone away because they get nothing but negative feedback too. People are like, "Why you're not eating animal foods? Like, is that okay? Do you feel okay?" And like, "Yes, I do. I do. I feel okay. I feel amazing." And if their families are like, "Well, you seem a little bit crazy there. Your eyes are flaring up, and you look all wild-eyed," and you know they get a lot of bad feedback, and they want to push those people away. They push the people away who show them the mirror. You hold up a mirror to them, they want to push it back. That's why he's pissed at you. Damn it, Drew.
We get all cozy, you know? You get all cozy, and then somebody is like, hey, they show you something or suggest something to you that makes you really go down a rabbit hole, and you're like, fuck, and you're forced to look at it, and it sucks. Because it could mean your entire life changes, you know? But it could be for the better. So, hey.
Well, that's the thing about leaving veganism. It always does kind of tend to be for the better. You don't hear anybody leaving a vegan diet and then going back. They might waffle for a few weeks or months, but in the end, they all realize, okay, I need the animal foods. And they never go back. And that's why these people, they know it's so dangerous, right? As soon as he tastes that egg, as soon as he eats some fish, as soon as he has that goat meat or whatever it is that Jackson decides to do first, the soy brigade is just, they know that it's over, that he's not going back because they've seen it with everybody else. So they got to get him to never even try it. Got to get him afraid, guilty. Right, you want to
Let's get some more Ryan.
Yeah, let's get some more Ryan, and we'll finish
still
up
not
here.
depleted, so I'm going. I have to ask the obvious question. So when will this inevitable depletion happen? The question, it's not going to. If so, the American Dietetics Association was stating in their paper. Well, we recommend it for all people in all phases of life, but at a certain point, though, you'll be depleted. So I'm in a long-winded way. I'm just saying that is just more anti-vegan nonsense. It's not even worth.
I have a question for you, Ryan. I have a question for you.
Okay.
So one of the things that Drew has been saying to me is he was like, Jackson, when I moved to Hawaii, there were like 25 vegans in our vegan scene. And he said now, a couple years later,
left, right?
There's like only a couple left.
Yeah,
he said,
how many people did he personally get in their ear and tell them to not be vegan, right? So it's kind of tainted the jury there.
Yeah,
Zero.
That was my question to you. Do you think that those people dropped off because they just like got lazy and don't care about the ethics and listened to Drew and was just like, fuck it, I'll stop being vegan? Or do you think
friends are exactly, but if you're living on the big island of Hawaii, I kind of have a good guess as to who some of them may be. And again, it comes back to people who are not really into veganism as vegans. They're into like extreme fringe dieting, like such as extended water fasts, extended stints on fully raw fruitarian diets. Once again, I'm not saying if you do those practices you will inevitably fail. I'm just saying it raises your probability much higher than if you eat it.
So they were never really vegan and they did it wrong.
Where's the study on that? Where's the study that says that people who did raw veganism and water fasting and juice fasting are more likely to quit veganism? Where's the study on that, Ryan? Doesn't exist. That is some new hypothetical information that you got there, buddy. Oh God, I'm always 2 steps ahead of these vegans, man. Just like saying how the vegans use themselves to project onto others. They say, hey, it works for me. You should be able to do it. Just like Ryan says, hey, I can dunk a basketball. That means I'm athletic. That means that you should be able to do it too. And I made a video 2 days before he even mentioned that about the specifics of the dunking example. Like, I literally made the exact example he uses 2 days later, where he says, "I can dunk a basketball. That means I'm athletic, right? That means I can do it. Like, where's your dunk? Where's your dunk at?" Uh, man, holy shit! It's like seeing in the future because I was there, and so were a lot of these ex-vegans. You know, doesn't make us very that special. We're just kind of sharing our experience.
I can do a kickflip, Ryan. You can't do a kickflip, therefore your diet doesn't work, right? Like what the fuck are you talking about? It makes no sense. You dunk a
Exactly.
basketball. All right, let's. They're about to wrap it up here, I think. He was.
Yeah,
But it's
they
funny
like
that
move locations and everything.
they always go back to the same thing. You were never really vegan, and you did it wrong. They did it wrong.
Yeah.
They weren't really vegan. So that's all they've got at this point, over and over again.
Let's go to the very end where Ryan's like closing out.
All right, let's see Jackson leave.
Okay.
Let's see what Jackson says.
And we all care about you, and we really hope that this
Here we
thought.
go. Yeah, let's
I
gaslighting
think
him
you
back
should,
in.
because we're just living this human experience, trying to figure out what is best for us and the planet and everything. And if you're questioning your diet, I will not shame you for trying something for 30 days and then being honest to yourself. And if you get extreme benefits from changing, then start to consider something, whether that's changing your diet within your vegan diet or whether it's eating animal products. I don't think that that will happen because, as Ryan and I have said, there's nothing in a healthy vegan diet that you need animals. Like you can get everything from a healthy vegan diet, but I just don't.
Except vitamin B12, zinc, DHA, EPA, saturated fats, cholesterol, iodine. We eat kelp though, or something they'll say. But it's, I mean, you're not going to get. There's so many nutrients that you're going to be deficient in on a vegan diet.
Well, they say, where are you going to get your fiber from? And you say, I don't need it. And they're going to say, well, the carnivores say that they poop every 5 days. They're constipated. It's like, and then you give them the most perfect, basic, common sense explanation of why that is, and they just can't accept it. They're
Well,
like,
they love you. You do seem like an outlier though, because I take a dump every day, sometimes twice, but every day at least once, same time, right? In the
That's
morning.
only if I'm doing 100% carnivore, no dairy products. If I'm adding in any carbohydrates whatsoever, it is more often. And I'm probably eating not that much food. Like when I was doing that every 5 days, which was in the very beginning, by the way, the first 40 days. So who knows how adapted I even was to the no fiber diet in the first place. I just came off 100 grams of fiber a day and I go to like 0, you know? So who knows what it would be now, but it's obviously a lot more regular now.
They love it. They love that you said that you poop once every 5 days. They're gonna hold that
And they're
against you
stuck.
forever.
They're stuck on that.
That's
They're
the
stuck
one.
on that
He's
one
constipated.
thing.
Yeah.
Constipated.
Wait till you
Because
get.
you know,
What if you
they're
get a
terrified.
pimple? If you get a pimple or something, it's gonna be the same. Like, look, he had a fucking pimple.
A vegan imagining not shitting for 5 days, that's why they freak out, because it's almost like being drowned alive. Because imagine the amount of shit that they'd have in their body.
Yeah,
Like they know that they would explode at the belly button, dude. They would just be a mess on the floor.
exactly. Well, they gotta have Dr. Greger's daily dozen bowel movements. That's the human healthy diet. You gotta have 12 shits a day. So let's see him sign out. He's almost done here.
See the problem with trying something for 30 days if you've done one thing long term for a long time just to see as an experiment. You try to do it from the most ethical ways. And I'm biking from Alaska to South America. I'm currently in El Salvador with my vegan doggy Maggie, and I'm still vegan as fuck. And go watch my videos, Plantriotic on Instagram, YouTube, everything. Ryan, do you have any closing statements?
Yeah, I think I can speak for most people here in the chat that we all care about you, and we really hope that this thought experiment of yours just remains that a really interesting thought experiment, but not one that you actually go and pursue in reality. Because I just, yeah, like I told you earlier, I think you'll regret it, and many vegans here will be really pissed off.
I realized that I've been too influenced by the
Yeah,
carnivores, and I
100%.
don't agree with
Yeah.
their nutritional philosophy.
You should
And
let me talk to you every day for 2 weeks rather than Drew. Let's get that happen. And the
well, that
2-week Ryan
to be
chat
honest,
Plantry
to
audit.
be honest, it's not that would do anything because you and I have the same points. It would only reiterate what I've been doing. The only thing that would influence me is if someone had this like dramatic statement that changing it would be different. So I still think the same things. I do not think meat is healthy. I think that a vegan diet is best. I just got so sick of these carnivores saying that we can't listen to you because you're in your vegan haze. And I thought, why don't I get out of the vegan haze and prove to them that I'm not crazy, that plants are best? But you're right, it's just not worth it. It's stupid. And I'm so satisfied and happy ethically and health wise with my diet. So why change it up just because a small group of fringe, unscientific, kind of weird people are
So this is how it
advocating
ended, huh?
for something different? You are right.
You are
Great.
right.
That's
Thank-
exactly, yeah.
That's
how a
exactly
lot of
what I
us see
wanted to
it
hear.
too. Yeah.
Appreciate
So
that, Jackson.
don't listen to the anti-scientific, anti-vegan people, especially you,
Anti-scientific.
Jackson. You're just kicking
And
butt,
Jackson,
and I want to see
Jackson
you
just trolling him.
continue
Immediately
kicking
went from
butt.
there to go eat
at-
eggs. I wish. I just sent you a photo that I want you to click on, and this might not be a fair thing to do, but it's professional cyclist, #1 cyclist in the world, 2018, Garen Thomas. Oh, I sent it to your Hangouts. So if you that pops up, I don't know if you'll be able to actually click on it. There you go. Yeah. So it's a. Oh, what? Maybe I will post here. I'm gonna post it in the. Oh, it's too long. Great. I get this. It's a picture of Garen Thomas, who's the #1 cyclist in 2018. No, but well, I don't know actually. He might. No, he has pretty pencil like legs, but I'm saying he's lean. He's a professional cyclist at the highest level. He still doesn't have that emaciated neck or cheekbone structure going on. He still has like red and white skin. Like his face is kind of what do you call that? Like red. He has like a natural skin tone.
Yeah.
He still has a bit of roundedness to his shoulders.
Yeah.
And even though he's probably 130 pounds, and he's even leaner and lighter than Jackson, he still doesn't have that sort of like malnourished, emaciated look. And none of them do. Even at their skinniest weight, they still don't have that look to them. They still have a facial structure. They still have plumpness to their cheeks, even though they're 130 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
these
They
are
don't have that
professional
emaciation.
cyclists.
And also they don't get that. It's just funny the manic vibe that you see from people that are starving. Like people are like deep in a fast or something. They get this specific look, the sunken eyes, the neck being all small, the eyes darting all around when they're talking, their heads moving, the body. It's like you see this a lot in these starving people, these vegans. But it's so crazy seeing him just get smacked in the line there, get gaslit back into it. He feels guilty for even thinking about it. He committed a thought crime in veganism, and they're never going to forgive him for it. That's the sad thing. So Jackson will never be forgiven for this thought crime. They're going to start making videos. They're going to start disassociating from him. And all these people would never have promoted him in the first place. None of these people ever would have shouted him out in the first place. They are only there to cannibalize their own bodies because they're starving and to cannibalize each other because these people don't give a shit about other vegan YouTubers. All they care about is the image of their channel, and they're fucking dug in the trenches, faking the funk, faking that they're feeling good and that they're healthy. There you go. You're able to get the photo in there because you're a mod. And
It's a top 10 list. It's very.
So he's back in line. Don't worry, guys. He's not. They're also going to say he was never really vegan, but yeah, that's funny at the end there how he just. He jumps right back into line like a good little boy, and Ryan pats him on the back and says, "Good boy, good boy."
Mm-hmm.
This is
Look
the
at
only
shoulder.
time.
Look at the shoulder.
Has
This is the guy that goes to the gym.
oh, I can pull up the photo. Okay, there we go.
It's 90-degree angle. There's no roundness whatsoever. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, where's the picture of him?
It's just like
general.
all the way to the bottom.
That's always him up there. Yeah. I mean,
No,
everybody
the
up.
very bottom has a picture of his face.
Well, all three of these guys up at the top, guarantee none of those guys are vegan.
No, yeah, nobody in cycling is vegan.
Well, Durian Rider, he's an amazing athlete. He trains with Lance Armstrong, dude.
True.
Come on, man.
Durian Rider's dude, the air puncher.
Natural.
He's insane.
Yeah, these guys look
Like,
healthy.
look at that guy.
They look healthy.
Yeah, they look healthy. They're
The
tan,
big
even
thick
though they're white.
legs. Look at his big thick legs too. Come on, these guys
Yeah.
are strong. Strong, healthy dudes. Got
Peter Sagan
quads.
looks real good. That guy, yeah, I know it's a funny picture
He's
of
on
him,
the
but
gear. He's on the gear, mate. He's on the gear.
true.
It doesn't count. He's on the gear. All right, let's finish off here with Ryan. Start wrapping it up. But I'd love that.
Alright.
That's a great. That's the best screenshot of Ryan right there. That's Ryan in a nutshell.
Thought this war was going to be over and peaceful, but Ryan had to, he had to take Jackson on today. Blame me.
It's all your fault, Drew. He called you the devil. He said you're like the devil whispering in his ear, telling people. And it's all Drew's fault that these people in Hawaii are leaving veganism. It's not the fault of animal foods actually being delicious and necessary for human health. It's not because we need animal foods. It's because you guys got tricked. It's because it's a fad. Eating animal foods is a fad. These people are nuts. And then they use anybody who goes away from veganism, they use, well, there's a carnivore dieters. These people eat only meat, so that's so extreme. They use this as a straw man. But really, you don't have to go carnivore. No one in the carnivore community is saying everybody should eat just meat. What we are showing is that you can live off of exclusively animal foods. And you'll feel a hell of a lot better if you live exclusively off plant foods. And there's several cultures who've done it long term. And who are documented to have had incredibly robust health, healthy societies, healthy families. And but as soon as the Western foods, the processed junk foods come in, their health falls apart. So you vegans are trying to live exclusively off of junk foods, off of rabbit food, off of food that people only eat when they're starving voluntarily. And you're doing it voluntarily. Many of you are sterilizing yourself, and you're doing exactly what these big foundations that are behind the funding of these processed foods, of the consolidation of the food supply, behind Monsanto, behind Bayer, behind Dow, behind Syngenta. These big foundations want you to be sterile. They want you to stop breeding. They want you not to have families. They want you to die young and be absolutely dependent on these pharmaceutical drugs that they're selling you. So you guys are doing good. You guys are doing exactly what you're told and engineered to do. And yeah, let's see what Ryan's got to say here.
As a vegan, and I want to see you make it all the way down to South America.
I'm doing that
For the world, how a vegan could cycle from Alaska to deep South
What I'm doing.
America.
What I'm doing. Friends, not food. Friends,
Yeah.
not food.
He's
back in the Friends Not Food.
He's branded. He's got a
he's
got a tattoo. Check it out.
Don't listen to the anti-scientific, anti-vegan people, especially you, Jackson. You're just kicking butt, and I want to see you continue kicking butt as a vegan, and I want to see you make it all the way down to South America.
I'm doing that.
For the world, how a vegan could cycle from Alaska to deep South America.
He flatters him. Oh, I like you so much. I'm so nice to you. I've never had you on my channel before. I've never shared you with my 200,000 subs before, but now I'm going to shame you in front of all of them. And if you do eat animal foods, I'm going to destroy you. Check it out. He shows his tattoo. This is sad.
Friends, not food.
Does it say friends, not food? It does.
I think it's a cow.
Dude, he branded himself. All right. There you go. You brand it onto your skin. So you're going to have body dysmorphia for the rest of your life if you... That's sad. That's so sad. Vegan tattoos. Daniel Vitalis had a shitload of vegan tattoos. You know what he did? He covered them with black ink. All of them.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was like one of the original ex-vegans back in the...
Yeah, he was like a superfood guy, right?
Yeah, he started selling colostrum. And they freaked out. They hated him. He started saying, look, you need animal foods. You can't be a vegan. You can't be a raw vegan especially. We need these animal foods. And he started hunting. And he started procuring his own food. And now he has a family. Or maybe not kids yet. But he got married. He went through a polyamory phase. All this interesting stuff. But yeah, he was the guy. Back in the day when I first got interested in veganism, I saw him. And then I saw the other people that were saying, yeah, this guy's wrong. You can be vegan long term. And he looked 100 times better, and it sounded 100 times more intelligent and sane. And it was kind of like, wow, maybe this guy's right. Maybe you can't be vegan. And Daniel Vitalis was definitely influential in me never really becoming vegan, because I'd always had it in the back of my mind. And so they'll say, Daniel Vitalis, he's the reason, right? Like, you did it wrong, and Daniel Vitalis was whispering in your ear like a devil. But yeah, he was an OG ex-vegan. What would you do if you had a vegan tattoo, man? What if you tatted yourself?
I would just rock it, man. I tell my buddy all the time. He got the rich roll, the peace plants, the peace plus plants. That's the rich roll motto or whatever. And I said it'll be peace, plants, and then a cow afterwards. So like you could just make it like you meant to do that all along. You know what I mean?
Just
Like
put a
add
cow
to it.
above it and have the cow grazing on it. Have the cow eating
There-
it.
Have you eaten the cow after that?
Yeah. Man. Yeah, so I remember actually, I remember trying Daniel Vitalis's dried colostrum during like the vegan experimentation phase and just feeling amazing. And just, I'd take one bite of it and I just want more and more of it. It was back in
That's
2000.
like how Bobby said, dude. He was accidentally eating like cream of corn or whatever in the French stuff that he bought because he couldn't read the directions or whatever, or the ingredients. So it accidentally had animal products, and he noticed he was feeling really good eating it, and he kept buying it. And then he bought the one that didn't have it, and he's like, "Dude, I did not feel as good. Like uh, it legit had stuff in it." And that was this is funny. I've never actually shared this, but about 6 months before I stopped being vegan, I had Chinese food that I was eating in like the same place every single day, and they accidentally put in eggs in my fried rice, like one egg, and I got home and it was in there, and I looked at it and I was like, you know what, fuck it, dude, I'm eating this. Like I'm not gonna waste the food. It smelled good, and I knew it smelled good, and I was curious, like if I eat this, am I gonna feel sick or something? And people hit me up all the time and ask that question. Dude, if I'm gonna feel sick if I eat meat, I'm like, nope, you're designed to eat that stuff more than you are the plant foods, buddy. Go for it. And yeah, of course, I ate that fried rice, and I felt fine, and it was good, and I couldn't believe it, And I kind of proudly told the rest of the vegans in the house, I was like, yeah, I had some eggs today in my fried rice on accident, and they're like, really? Like, whoa, what happened? Nothing. Felt fine. So
Oh, but
yeah,
you
that
didn't
stuff
feel
happens.
better because it doesn't have anything special in it. You didn't feel better, therefore,
Right.
veganism wins.
Right.
Veganism wins.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, I remember trying and it wasn't like it was fresh raw colostrum. It was just dried, supposedly dried at very low temperature was his product. It was called like Surthrival was the brand. But it was really good, man. It tasted like cheese powder, and I would just take tablespoons of it and shove it in my mouth. And it was like $60 for this little small container of it. But I just remember eating that whole thing, just thinking, damn, like I feel great off of this stuff. My digestion felt better, everything felt better. And yeah, that was definitely another one of those wake up calls of like, well, you know what? Maybe the plants aren't as great for us as we were told.
The dairy the vegan who freaked out over dairy in his pizza sauce, that was Simeon Plant Simeon. Is that his name? The snowboarder kid. He stopped making videos a long time ago.
So
He
he's
actually
not
had a
vegan
pretty good
anymore.
channel.
That's the thing. These people that when they stop going vegan, when they get out of the veganism, they just stop making videos. That's all they
He
do.
freaked out. Like he literally lost his shit.
He's probably not even vegan now, man. He probably got his health
Yeah.
back.
I think it's Plant Simeon. Anyway.
There's I remember when I first came to Ecuador, one of the first people we met. So we rented this little house, and there was this old lady named Martha that we used to. I get distracted by you typing.
Sorry.
There's this lady Martha that maybe I'll just talk to the chat like you, cheat on you with the chat. This chick Martha, I mean she's not a chick. She was like probably 67 years old at the time, and now she's almost 90. And I got to Ecuador, and at the time we were still trying to like go back and forth between vegan, and we're thinking, you know what, there's going to be so much good fresh fruit down there, we could probably do like a mostly vegan diet, the lentils, quinoa, a lot of these things are really cheap, really inexpensive there. There's your brother. What's up, brother?
Oh, what's up, bro? Eat meat.
Yeah, buddy.
He's an eat meat, make families type of guy. His wife is pregnant right now.
Dude, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congrats,
I can barely
man.
hear you, but thank you.
Yeah, is it a boy or a girl?
It's gonna be a girl. Yeah, girl.
Oh, that's the best. Yeah, girl first is nice because she opens up your heart. Yeah,
I already
man.
got an open heart, buddy.
Yeah, right. Not till you hold your daughter in your hands, man. It's different.
Oh,
Something
Cry
like
better than
melts.
dog.
Yeah, it's like something like melts inside, man. It's different. So, anyways, yeah. So this lady, she was actually living off the land, right? And I was kind of around a lot of people before I had left who were talking about sustainable agriculture and whatnot. And this woman was actually doing it. She had her own goats, and she had a pregnant goat. And the goat had given birth that day, the day that we met her. And I asked her, do you have colostrum? Can you get me some colostrum? I've got a video of it on my other PC. But we went over there and we filmed. I filmed at the time, like on my little, what was it, like a, what was it called? Canon. It was like a mini DV camera. So on the little tapes back in the day, had a big old wide angle lens. Pretty cool camera. I don't even know if it works anymore. I still got it. And I filmed her, milking the goat, getting the colostrum, and I got a jar of colostrum that day. And fresh, raw goat colostrum from like 6 hours after this thing was born. And I just remember how amazing that stuff was. And I just kind of laughed. I was like, wow, like this is, none of these vegans I had met, like that were pretending to be all super vegan, none of them were actually living off the land. And here's this old woman, almost 80 years old, walking up and down this hill, grabbing a goat, milking the goat, feeding it, growing some plants on her land, but she's mainly taking care of these goats. And that just imprinted me, like how important animal agriculture was. And even after that, I still tried to do I did almost a 6-month stint of no animal foods at all. And that was the last straw. I was like, no, I'm fucking done with this stuff. Like, it doesn't work. I even tried to do raw for a period of time in that, like slowly transition into like eating. And I was doing like a little bit of fasting as well to try to get my digestion right. Just drink like 5 coconuts in a day and drink some water. And none of that stuff made me feel half as good as drinking that goat colostrum. So crazy stuff.
That reminds me of the Weston A. Price like Switzerland village that he visited in like this really remote area and the like somewhere deep. And yes, they had rye bread. Yes, they ate a little bit of carbohydrates and plant foods, but they primarily subsisted off of dairy. And the kids and the people there were extremely healthy with really nice teeth. And it was just like one of those things like you can produce so many calories efficiently with some small amount of animals, and actually live in these remote areas and make it happen. And yeah, you can eat a little bit of bread or whatever, but primarily they're getting their calories from animal foods, and it makes such a huge difference, even if it's just milk and cheese. So yeah, that tells me that that's some healthy shit. There you go.
That's from the chapter right there. It's called like
There
the
you go.
Luchental Valley in Switzerland. So like they just beautiful teeth, eating mainly cheese, a little bit of bread. They had bone broth regularly, and then here's Swiss on the modern foods. Same time, same generation. On the modern foods, all their teeth are falling apart and decaying.
Living more close to the city, right?
Yep, eating the plant-based diet, eating
Yep.
the sugars and the refined carbs, living near the cities.
I need to read that book. That thing seems epic. Like that would just give me such a solid, concrete foundation of something to tell people that want to know this information that are real stuck on the scientific studies and stuff like that. Because again, that's not a study. What he did was not a study.
Yeah.
Yet it's extremely powerful visual representation of what's really going on. I mean, the vegans can say all they want. It's not a study, and then they go out and put studies out that don't even have statistical significance. I hope Bart's still in the chat. I had a guy today who's like, I learned how to break down studies in college. I don't know if you learned how to do it in college where you went. And it's like, dude, unless you're a fucking scientist, you understand statistical significance. Was it the CI or the FI, whatever? You have to have all these things confound in order to even like have any meaning whatsoever. Otherwise, study is just generally useless. And this guy claims that he's able to break down studies. Yeah, right.
Someone in the chat said that research shows powdered colostrum still has respectable potency. I would agree, man. That stuff made me feel amazing.
Yeah.
The powdered colostrum was great. I think it was fantastic. Even if he said it was low temperature dehydrated, so it would still retain some of its living enzyme properties. I don't know if that's even true or if it needs to be true, but that stuff was fantastic. Raw colostrum, one of the most powerful foods. Raw milk, I'm a huge fan of. Trying to gain some weight, trying to make some gains, some non-vegan gains, some post-vegan gains. Raw milk is fantastic. And yeah, the Weston A. Price's Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. Like this has been kind of a gold mine of material for the low-carb community over the last couple decades. And this is what got us into high-fat nutrition back in 2012. No, the end of 2012 when my daughter's teeth she started getting dental caries. So we read that book. But yeah, this guy also mentioned, which Garland Farms had some interesting comments today. He's into the
Is that Zen mode
colostrum.
guy? The dude Durin Rider said is on juice. Zen mode philosophy.
That's Zen. Yeah, there he is. Zen mode. Yeah. What's up, Zen mode?
Good. Check him out.
Zen mode. You give him a wrench so people can see Zen mode philosophy. He's a nice guy. Add moderator. You've been wrenched, dude. Be nice with it. So yeah, Garland Farms was talking about iodine and colostrum and no-till. I'm not sure what he's saying there, but yeah, those all no-till farming, pretty important, I think. Yeah, it seems like he's a farmer. Maybe he should come on the show sometime. And definitely, iodine's super important. So what's so cool about I don't know what I've learned about iodine over the years. A lot of people in the area that I live in, they'll end up getting goiter. They'll end up getting not even goiter, but just thyroid issues in general. And the soil here is really depleted of iodine. Up high in the Andes, there's lots of rain, and it washes out a lot of the iodine in the soil. So, what they used to do, the Peruvians, that and Weston Price talks about in Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, the Peruvians would trade for products from the Andes to the coast, and they would bring these eggs in. They're from the skate-like creature called the angelote, and those have loads of iodine in them, and they would use them as fertility foods for the women. So iodine's super important for fertility. There's not a lot of DHA in those eggs. It's actually the iodine that I think they're going for, and you can actually see the color of it. It's like this orangish purple color. These eggs, these skate-like unfertilized eggs from a skate-like creature called the angelote. And so yeah, that's definitely something that's super important. Iodine. A lot of people overpass that in the vegan community. Iodized salt used to be a pretty big thing, but now it's not really happening in most of the world, and it's very important for immune function, thyroid function, hormones, brain function, and pregnant women get depleted of iodine pretty quick too. So if your lady's pregnant, maybe get your brother's wife to make sure she's getting sufficient iodine in. Good thing to look at.
They definitely eat a wide variety of foods. I can tell you that much. They're not shy about. Yeah,
we
got
get
no issues with
that's
that.
good. We give iodized salt to cows here, so like you got to give the iodized salt to the cows here because there's not enough in the soil in the area we live in. So interesting stuff. Thanks for the comments, man. Yin Yang's up in the chat. Yin Yang's always hanging around. There are some super chats. Let me go back to the super chats. Unless maybe I don't know. I got a stingy crowd. They never give super chats, but let's see. I don't know if there's any.
These are the diehards, though. The people that are coming here are like the people that are in every channel. They're like soaking it all up. They keep track of everything. I love it.
Yeah, I see these people giving other people's them super chats though. They don't care about our. They don't show no love in this one. All right, so Goji Man and his pal Hench says dogs barking got mine doing the same. God bless. Right on, man. Lazi Jakovic says this poor man's eyes tell it all, and I think we all know what he's talking about there. He's not talking about Drew. I don't think he's talking about me. I think he's talking about our buddy Jackson over there, who seemed to be struggling. Yin Yang says, what about sheep placenta and black ant extract? It's not something
Black ant extract?
I mean, it sounds like it's kind of hard to go there. I don't know. Black ant extract. How about some beef, some seafood?
Keeps easy.
I'm down for the raw milk, the colostrum, the seafood. I think I'll stick with
How are
those.
you feeling on time? Because I got to get some food in me, and things are about to close up.
I gotta sleep, man. It's like 11 o'clock here. I'm up past my bedtime. We're gonna wrap it up. So yeah, let's see how Ryan ends up closing it out. Let's see what's up here.
Instilling doubt. It's the same.
He's just reading comments
financial investing. You can lose people a lot of money by whispering in their ears the stocks they're missing out. Yeah, that's what Drew was doing to him. That's what I'm saying. See, Drew gone now, but yeah, it's he doesn't need some former vegan who's now anti-vegan with an agenda talking to him every day.
Anti-vegan agenda. What's the anti-vegan agenda, Drew? You made a dime off anti-veganism yet?
Hardly. And that's the thing. Is funny is, I mean, he's talking about a guy that moved to Hawaii for 2 years of his life to be around vegans and learn about veganism even more so, learn about the healing modalities, learn more and more and more as much as I could, live the healthiest lifestyle I could, be around the healthiest people I could. and he's saying that I have the agenda. It's like, no, if anything, I had a vegan agenda. It doesn't matter how bad you want it to work sometimes. It just doesn't work. And the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing these days is because guys like this trying to, you know, slander the name, call me a liar or say that I'm misinformed or something like that. It's like, no, no, no. Got to get the word out. And there's people that hit me up every single day that are like, dude, you know, your chats with Bobby back in the day, like that got me start questioning things. And people have amazing turnaround stories. Sarah Mays is one of them. This girl, she was bedridden, if I recall from our conversation, I believe. Yeah, she essentially reversing everything in a few months after being vegan. So pretty crazy, man.
I just think it's funny. You remind me of this every once in a while because sometimes I forget because you're so nice and we got a good rapport together. But you used to hate me. You got banned from my comment section. You said you used to troll my channel.
Yep. And back in the day, it was like I said, it was that Luis, that Mexican guy, the bodybuilder guy.
Yeah, Villaseñor of
Quito
Gains. Luis Villaseñor of Quito Gains.
I said he was obviously on steroids, and like there's no way this bullshit works, and blah blah blah. And
that's funny. Yeah. You were doing the Jury and Ryder lines, man. And that guy, he's actually natural. He's been on a keto diet for like 20 years now. You can see he's not making any more gains. He's genetically maxed out. You know, you can make some adjustments to his physique and stuff, but he's genetically maxed out. He's as jacked as he's going to get. I think he's 5'6" or 7", so pretty short and just really jacked little Mexican dude. And super nice guy, always helping people out on keto gains. Haven't talked to him in a long time. But yeah, Luis Villaseñor. All right, so let's finish off here with Ryan. I'm going to skip forward.
I'm surprised when
Angie jumps in.
Yeah. And yeah, look at our Twitter. Happy.
I even said I'm sorry to Angie in the public chat. By the way, I tagged her. I hope she read that. I said I'm sorry. Ryan has sufficiently convinced me that you are busy, you are active. I take back what I said about you in the thing, and she didn't respond. So you know, whatever. See, I'm not like some asshole for no reason. Like I'll make a judgment, and if somebody defends it good enough, I'm gonna retract it. You know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a whole pot.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Here they are trying to pretend they like eating cauliflower.
Yeah. I made the whole bag of pasta. The whole head of cauliflower.
I just love it. I just love it. It's amazing.
Like 4 cups of cauliflower.
Jackson texted me here.
Oh my god. I didn't realize how hungry I was.
Gotta say,
no, you realize how hungry you are. You realize how hungry you always are because you're on a vegan diet. When you're on a vegan diet, you are always hungry.
Didn't realize how hungry I was. Like,
you know what's cool? I go the whole day without eating and actually not realize that I'm not hungry. That I'm hungry, and then when I do eat, it's satiating, and I'm done, and I don't crash afterwards. So that's what's cool about not being all up on the vegan diet. All right, so let's skip.
My smoothie kept me pretty filled up pretty good.
Nice smoothie.
You guys saw that video I made yesterday? How I trained in a day. I showed you that clean machine protein I put in there. It really seems to keep me fuller longer than I was just doing all fruit and stuff. You know, it really, those studies that say more protein keeps you more satiated. I always kind of laughed at that. But I think there is something to that. I don't feel as like I'm burning through the food as quickly. It keeps, you know, I stay fuller longer. So
you're good. Right. Careful.
Keep it carved, baby. Keep it carved. So we got to maintain that cognitive dissonance a bit. Don't find yourself admitting that you need those proteins.
This is a man on supplements. This is as good as it gets for Orion. Then, you know, do you take protein powder?
No. Oh man,
I'm not on protein powder anymore. I'm done. I'm on zero.
There's zero powders. There's no powders. I guess like salt's the closest thing to powder I put on my foods.
Right.
I'm not against like collagen and stuff. Some people really get good results from taking some collagen and stuff like that.
Especially if you're depleted or messed up or something.
Yeah. I'm not against supplementation. You know, I mean, I think there's certain supplements that can definitely do people some good in certain contexts. But to say, you know, what's cool about eating sufficient animal foods you don't really need to supplement anything. Like if you're, I mean, you can live off of all milk, and they used to actually treat tuberculosis with an all raw milk diet, and people lay in the sun. So, yeah.
Oh, we got the legendary CMC Productions broadcasting in the channel.
Damn.
Lucky us.
CMC, looking for that vegan tea. All right.
Email me, do something. I want to send you a T-shirt or something. Life Goes On CD and both. So we're getting
At least digital downloads.
at the very least, yeah. So yeah, Race Lover contact.
Angie's like, no, give him a digital download. All right.
Digital
So
download.
they're thanking the guy who banned me. What's his name? The mod in the chat. I forget his name. He banned me, and he was very happy that he got to ban me. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's how you keep people in line. That's how you maintain the boundaries of the cult. And Jackson, who never would have been promoted by any of these vegans who've now got his channel's name on their lips. Jackson, who never would have been able to collaborate with any of these people. They never would have helped him out in any way. They're suddenly so concerned because he's saying he might eat some meat. And but of course he went back into the closet. He says, you know what, it was a stupid idea. I'm going back. I'm never going to think about this again. So Jackson, obviously you're going to eat meat eventually. The sooner the better, for the sake of yourself. Shoot, for the sake of your parents, so they can stop freaking worrying about you, kid. But yeah, I guess maybe I'll talk to Jackson sometime soon this week. See if he wants to come on. Drew, what do you got to say, Devil Drew? Drew, the devil whispering in his ear, trying to convince him that he should eat meat all week long. He says all week long, just spamming him in his dreams, haunting his dreams.
I did tell him in the interview or debate that I don't even think he'll be vegan for the rest of his life, and he was like, whoa! He flared up real quick, and then he I don't know, it was very triggering for him, and I think that just haunted him after that because he maybe there was some truth to it, and he felt that.
I don't know. But yeah, I think that you summed it up beautifully. I don't have a lot more to say, actually.
Drewmorg.
Just thanks for the chat.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. You guys find Drewmorg over at Drewmorg on YouTube. DREWMORG, right? It's all one word.
Yep.
There you go. All right, guys. We're out of here. Vegans. Future ex-vegans watching this, just remember, look, when you go back to animal foods, they're going to shame you. They're going to gaslight you. They're going to tell you were never vegan. They're going to tell you they hate you. They're going to tell you how terrible you are. Remember, this is like 0.5% of the actual population. Most of these people don't know any vegans in real life. And your friends and family in real life are going to be so stoked that you're feeling better, that your eyes are not sinking back into your head, and that you've got a actual drive to communicate with people, hang out, and so we'll be here to embrace you with open arms. Ryan from Happy Healthy Vegan, who's built his whole identity, online persona, all around veganism, not likely to leave the cult anytime soon. But people like Jackson, people who've been on the fence for a little bit, you guys all know eventually you're out. So when you're ready, we'll be here for you. And I know Drew is being really nice and patient, even though some of you little hateful vegans are throwing darts and daggers at my friend here. He's being really nice to you guys. So take note of that. And when you are ready to come out, I'm sure he'll be welcoming you with open arms, and he'll maybe even share steak with you.
Exactly. See you guys. Thanks for coming.